What a finish. What a man.
The drum roll finishes, and the target is hit.
And it comes on finals night, and it's a knockout.
Dirty Harrison! Van Velzen!
Big fish incoming. What a way to win a game.
Double 13. It's wonderful. The Joker had played his trump cards. What can he see at this tops? He's going to see next to nothing. That's a fantastic find. That's a fantastic find.
That is absolutely classy from Jamie Lewis. Leaves him on the ball, and he's going to milk it.
Thank you.
The drum roll finishes, and the target is hit. What a moment!
It's a premier time for darts here at the Modus Super Series. Good evening, welcome along to Group B here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, where we've got a couple of former weekly winners, a former World Masters champion amongst the mixed team, and of course a former World Championship semi-finals. It should be quite the intriguing night's worth of action. We're going to be watching it all in the company of Laura Turner. You look at the CVs of the 5 players that are in play. You've got players that have won weeks here in the past. You've also seen players that have either won big things or gone close to winning big things.
Yeah, funny enough, Chris Murphy and I were talking about it this afternoon, and it's where we had a group in Group C that was quite kind of easy to perhaps predict the way it was going to go. Tonight, it feels very, very difficult. I think every player in this group's got the potential to go through.
Well, let's go back to this afternoon then and talk about Johnny Haynes in particular. Last minute call up because of the withdrawal of Martin Adams, and he's making the most of that opportunity, isn't he? 5 wins and 5.
Yeah, he had, I'd say, a tentative first leg, and then after that didn't look back whatsoever. And this was a really big game, actually, for both these players, because they were both sat at the top of the table at the time. It was Johnny Haynes that got the better of Brian Roman and ended up going through the card.
Well, let's have a look at the table in front of the end of the first day's worth of play, because Johnny Haynes has a 4-point lead at the top of the table from Brian. Remember, the top 2 players come out of this group. Alex Williams on debut, good day for him, 6 points to his name. Will Bede and Simon Wilkinson and Pim van Bynen, the bottom 3 in the table. So that's how Group C looks. This is the tournament bracket as we reach the halfway point of the week, the third week of Series 11 here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. We saw Kevin Burness win Group A on Wednesday afternoon. The 6 players that we saw in Group C this afternoon. And tonight, John O'Shea, Jamie Owens and Jamie Lewis will enter the mix. Graeme Hall and Alex Small join us from Group A. Let's talk about Graeme Hall, because over the course of the 15 games, you look at his numbers, probably the most consistent player of everyone. But maybe timing just let him down a little bit. But it looks like he's getting better as the week goes along, and he should be in a very good stead to have a good time of it in this Group B. Yeah,
I agree. And I do think, had his best day yesterday, but unfortunately, in terms of topping the group, I think the damage was kind of done earlier on in the week by Kevin Burness. But yeah, he's looking more and more comfortable back here at, obviously, at the Live Lounge. And I think he's one of those players. I think he'll fancy his chances getting through to Saturday's final.
In terms of Jamie Owens, we saw him as an ADC qualifier, I think it was around about a year or so ago now. He's made it through the finals nights, he's had big moments, and he looks like a player now. Now he's getting more direct invites into this competition. Somebody that we look at and think, maybe he's possibly a contender to win weeks now.
Yeah, and I think we thought about it, haven't we, the last couple of times. And I mean, this is an iconic moment really here at the Live Lounge, the 170. 170 at any point, let's be honest, is a show-stopping finish. But to get it in a must-win leg when your opponent's sat down on 11, and that takes you through to it was the semi-finals at the time. And the raw emotion from him as well. I'm hoping to see more of the same because, like you, I think he's one of those players that's just got better and better each time he's come here.
Well, let's have a look at the odds and then run through some of the other runners and riders in this particular race as far as Group B is concerned. Graeme Hall goes off the favourite. Jamie Owens the second favourite. In terms of other players, interesting to see Alex Small at 11-2 when you consider he's recently won a week and he played some decent stuff in Group A, even if at times it was a little bit patchy.
Yeah, and he played himself into a position, in a group that was pretty much dominated by Kevin Burness, played himself into a position to get here into Group B. He hasn't, he's not in Group C. So, yeah, I do think if there's value anywhere, then that for me is definitely one that feels like he should be slightly higher up when it comes to the odds.
In terms of the other two players, John O'Shea and Jamie Lewis, what are you kind of expecting from them the next couple of nights?
John O'Shea, again, another player. We've seen him at Champions Week. Hasn't actually won a week here, but we have seen him on Champions Night. We saw him recently in the international pairs as well. And for John, I think coming here, it's just getting that consistency. He loves playing darts. I mean, that's whenever you speak to John, it's all about, enjoyment, playing darts. And he loves coming here to the Super Series. So, yeah, for John, I think the start is going to be really important actually for the whole field, because when there's only a limited amount of games, a limited amount of time, it does kind of run out.
Well, it is 18 plus. It is gambleaware.org if you're going to have a flutter on the Super Series tonight. Right, let's get into the action then, shall we? And first up to the oche is John O'Shea, the former World Masters champion. Saw him a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? At the International Pairs Week. Kim and Shane McGuire made it through to the Saturday night, but missed out in that dramatic 9-dart shootout. But in it for himself this week, and he's looking to make it through to Champions Week as a winner for the very first time. Earlier on this evening, I caught up with the Joker to get his thoughts for the next 3 days. John, another appearance here at the Modus Super Series for yourself. You must enjoy your trips down to Portsmouth.
I love coming here. I do. I really do. I just love throwing darts. So wherever it takes me, happy days. But I do. I like that stage out there. I like the company that I'm with. Most weeks that I come here, it's different faces, or faces I've been with for years. So yeah, it's always a good crack.
A couple of weeks since we saw you last, what would be your overall assessment of the international pairs?
I tell you now, 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, Like I said, back then, wearing your country's colours in any sport is a privilege, and I've had that privilege for many times playing for the INDO back home in Ireland, and no matter where I go, and if I put those colours on, I mean, it's something different. It means different. The game is different. You're not playing for yourself. Everybody is watching at home, Everyone's probably watching tonight,
In terms of the Super Series, back to yourself this week. You've had a lot of close shaves in the past. Few finals nights, few finals. Is it now about getting over the line and lifting that first weekly title?
Do you know what? I've took the pressure off myself. The last few weeks have been really, really busy. And probably for the first time in my life, I'm not focused on myself. And my darts have been really good. I'm back up now, number 1 in Ireland on the INDO rankings, number 1 in the ADC rankings. Title belt holder, so I just take it every. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's always next week.
Absolute free roll.
Yeah, free roll, and that could make me very dangerous. But I'm enjoying my darts again. I've been looking after myself. I've lost a bit of weight, and I'm happy. My darts are in a good place.
Wish you all the very best, John. Good luck.
Thanks, Henry.
Well, John O'Shea is somebody that when we see him here at the Super Series, we expect him to be there or thereabouts. And by and large, he's there or thereabouts. But I'm sure that somebody with the CV that he's got and somebody who comes with the reputation that he has will be hoping to eventually pick up a weekly title, the former runner-up in Series 6. I think it's a man who won his first week here in the previous series, Alex Small, the 26-year-old from Wattsville in Wales. He won the first week of Series 10, looking to win the third week of Series 11. He dropped into this Group B, having finished third in Group A on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively. And for John O'Shea, he's kind of getting accustomed to this whole Group B lark. It tends to be where we see him in weeks these days. Jack Garwood refereeing his second session of the day. The referee from Nottingham in England, world-class level official, refereed at the Circus Tavern in February for the World Seniors Championship. It's John O'Shea to get it underway. And he was actually saying to me earlier on this evening, the World Seniors Championship perhaps is something that he's going to eye up over the next year or so. As Alex Small eyes up the night's first max with his first visit of the evening.
Yeah, solid start there from both players, really. And hopefully that is a sign of things to come. We quite often say, especially when players are coming in relatively cold, like John O'Shea hasn't been here all week, unlike Alec, and can take him a little while to get settled. Well, there's no hanging around here from these two.
Certainly a lot of pace being injected into this particular contest.
81.
Yeah, I think you and I were actually quite surprised that the odds compilers had Alec right as one of the outsiders in terms
76.
of topping the group. Yes, it is a tough group, and I don't think anyone would dispute that fact. But I mean, if you just look at how he performed yesterday, average of around 85 and a half.
135.
Just dropped just a one loss as well, and that was the first game. Really did play himself into a bit of form yesterday.
105.
Yeah, I reckon about a 4-1 would have
Johnny
been
requires
fair
62.
on Alec, maybe as a price with the bookies to go on and win this group. But I think 11-2 is a little bit generous as Shea looks at double 16 for a
Game shot on the
comfortable
first
hold
leg, John
in the
O'Shea.
opening leg. 15 darter, 5 visit leg, and John O'Shea is comfortably up and
Second
running.
leg, it's Alec to throw first. Game on.
John O'Shea will probably think 10-3 for him to win the group. He'll think
140.
maybe not being disrespected by the odds compilers, but he'll feel maybe I should be, in terms of odds, a little bit slimmer than that.
Hey, I've been priced up at
100.
1,000 to 1, and that one that does hurt. I'll give you that. I mean, what's even more disappointing, if I'm honest,
99.
is they were spot on. I lost first game. Yeah, the other side of that is I have been priced up as
81.
well in tournaments that I'm not even in, which is also a bit of a unique situation. They don't always get it right.
So if you put £1 on Laura Turner to win that tournament, you lose £1.
92.
Surely you get a refund if I'm not in it.
Is that like Rule 4 in horse racing? Anyway, Alex Small looking to
100.
level this game up
Alec,
at one
you
apiece. He's
require
got 6 starts from 170 to do exactly that, not to be on this occasion.
46.
It's not put the type of hole he would have liked to have put in that. He's left himself on 1-2-4. But it's not going to be under pressure
Alec, you
because
require
O'Shea still cannot leave a
124.
finish.
Yeah, sensible option. Just looking to set something up, and that was a
100.
beautiful last start to make sure when he returns, he has got 3 darts for a double.
Alec, you require 24.
It's under pressure for this to square this contest up at one apiece. Long for double 6.
No score.
Too high, and O'Shea's going to get an opportunity to break the throw
80.
and open up a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, could that be a really costly miss there for Alex Small? But this isn't easy. The lie of those first 2 darts
40.
had to try and get across them.
Alec, you require
Whilst he
24.
achieved that, just overshot it slightly.
Yeah, wasn't much by way of room for manoeuvre there for John O'Shea. But Alex Small is missing a lot
No
of
score.
darts at a double.
Johnny
5,
require
6 darts
40.
to win this second leg. And is he going to be punished? Is he going to be broken?
Game shot on the second leg.
Well, there's your
John
answer.
O'Shea.
Yep, there is the breaker throw for John O'Shea.
Third leg, it's John to throw first. Game on. $58. $40.
Whilst you do have the opportunity, many congratulations to Luke Humphreys for picking up his first Premier League title tonight at the
96.
O2 Arena in London, beating Luke Little at 11 legs to 8 in the final, which means he is now picked up
87.
every single Sky Sports major.
Yeah, you will say at that real elite level, right at the top of the professional game, there just seems to have
140.
been a bit of a changing of the guards, the introduction of the 2 Lukes, and just their dominance at the top end.
57.
It's almost like that. Those few years in tennis, you know, when Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal were right at the peak of the game and they
85.
brought each other on. It just has a similar feeling to that, really.
Yeah, I do think so. And I guess the difference is as well. I mean, I know we celebrate international
59.
pairs, but wow,
Johnny
what a World
require
Cup team those two
122.
I'm sure will prove to be for England.
O'Shea here Well, I suppose in some ways, if you're going to have a whack-a-mole moment, then that might well be how you want it done. He's gained 36 points
74.
at least. He didn't have to persevere with that because Alex Small wasn't on a finish, but it looks like it's going to be a case of all's well but ends well.
98. Johnny require 48.
Yeah, no major damage done, especially if he can convert this. Overly cautious with the first.
16. Alec, you require 160.
We've seen that once this week already, and I think it might have been Alec that did that. He's able to get the 160. O'Shea's going to come back for 32 here
56.
to
Johnny
lead
require
3-0.
32.
Two eights, now 2 4s.
Game
He
shot
does
in the
get
third
it
leg.
last start of
John O'Shea.
asking. Yeah, John O'Shea now racing
Fourth
into this
leg
3-0
is
lead,
Alex
just
to throw
one away
first.
from
Game on.
taking the opening match of this Group B.
94.
And this is one of the brutal sides of, you know, a race to 4. It's only one breaker throw, and Alec obviously missed those 6 starts in leg 2.
140.
Just that one leg, it can just totally change the outlook of a match.
$22. $140.
Well, John O'Shea is really rattling through this one, isn't he?
45.
221 points away from completing a 4-0 victory.
85.
Yeah, Small just hasn't really had much of a response. It'd be one of those matches
98.
that if he does
Johnny
go 4-0,
require
he'll be disappointed that he just
136.
hadn't taken those chances when they did come up.
And the problem is as well, it puts him on the back foot straight away, doesn't it? And
38.
possibly in a group like this makes him just a little bit susceptible. And this has been a comfortable passage towards a break here for John O'Shea. And he's going to get 6
41.
more here to get
Johnny
the job done.
require
98 required to open up his account with a comprehensive 4-0 victory. Double 19. And then decided to
66.
split because his opponent wasn't on a finish.
Yeah, and I think that's sensible as well, because the lie of that first start where John starts stand up, completely blocking that double 19 bed, will be under a little bit when he does come back to the Oki. 120 scored.
135. Johnny require 32.
Well, it's been a dominant display.
Good shot.
And John O'Shea better run and get that.
John O'Shea.
He finds a double 16 and he opens up his account with a 4-0 victory. The 5-time weekly finalist here who's looking to pick up a first win here at the Live Lounge. Well, he's got his campaign started with a comprehensive 4-0 win against Alex Small. This is how he did it. In terms of the average, 85, 4 from 10 on his doubles. Pretty much running towards his annual stats, if the truth be told. Coming up after the break, we're going to see Jamie Owens for the first time this week. He takes on Graeme Hall, who finished runner-up in Group A.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls of this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts, but he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the stage,
Charlie,
approaching the
required
jockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
require
he's gone to
180.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that
Charlie,
situation there, George
require
Scaife wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes
1.
can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie,
Threw
you
the entire
require
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go!
Couldn't get the job
Yes!
done.
Got in the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Scaife.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Scaife!
Yeah, welcome back to the Modus Super Series. We've just seen John O'Shea demolish Alex Small by 4 legs to 0 in a match that was pretty much dominated by the man from Ireland. But now we move on to game number 2, and we see the return of Graeme Hall, whose progress here came via Group A, finished second in the group, just the one win off of the table topper Kevin Burness. And there you see Jamie Owens. Jamie is one of those players that's really shown some progression the times that he's been here. We mentioned at the top of the show that exceptional 170 to get him through to the semi-finals. And as mentioned, he's playing Graeme Hall. And yeah, he is a Series 1 winner. All the way back in week 3. Maybe week 3 is the week for him. We're in week 3 here in Series 11. But go back to that Series 1. It was way back when we were still in Southampton.
Yes, back in the old studio where the floorboard squeaked. Yeah, it was certainly an intriguing time for all of us. And for Graeme Hall, in retrospect, some of the players he beat, well, they all went on to go and do some bigger and better things. He beat Jan van Veen in the final of the week that he won. The semi-finalists included Scott Williams, who'd go on to then make a World Championship semi-final. Danny van Tripe, who was also in that Saturday night, has been on, then back off tour in that time. Josh Richardson, now a tour card holder. It was a very good week that he would go on to win, and he was a part of the first ever championship, and no one can ever take that away from him. And some of the players involved in that, well, he wouldn't make it through to the Saturday night
26.
in a Champions night, which actually featured one of our very own, Chris Mason. Lost out in the quarterfinals alongside Lee Evans,
50, sir.
Darryl Pilgrim, Josh Payne, Graham Usher, and of course Conan Whitehead would go on to claim the honours of the first ever Champions Week here in Portsmouth.
134.
But for Graham, it's about creating new memories here. He was a real star, particularly when we were at the previous venue in Southampton. And it really was the lightning of the blue touch paper, which then saw him go on and get a tour card in 2023. But what can't be ignored here is the really positive start that Jamie Owens is making to proceedings here, leaving himself on the biggest finish of them all after 9 darts. But there's one thing we know about Jamie Owens, is he has got form in terms of hitting this particular outshot.
Yeah, and that's the ideal first. Can't quite find the second. The line was perfect, but fired into the dart that was already in the treble and tries for the ball.
82.
But, as you say, Henry, really solid start from Jamie Owens. Still very much in control of this opening leg.
Well, it doesn't even have to possibly take the boards. It depends what Graeme does here.
100.
Well, Ton leads him on a
Jamie
finish, so
McGuire, 88.
it'd be recommended that maybe he plays safe and goes for the ball. Bullseye it is.
63.
Not to be this time, and so
Graeme
Hall will be
McGuire,
back for 145 to get an opening break.
There's part 1. There's part 2. Tops for a 145, and there is part 3.
Graeme Hall.
And in a leg that was really dominated by Jamie
Second
Owens, he'll be
leg, it's
disappointed
Graeme to the
not to have
first.
been able to have
Game on.
taken out the finish towards the end. But that 145, an exceptional start from Graeme Hall.
An early blow to the man from Stockton on tees. That would be the equivalent in terms of his footballing days of
137.
being hit with a free kick from the best part of 35 yards out when you've been on top for the first 10 minutes or so.
82.
Yeah, it happens. And it just goes to show, you have to be killing off these legs as quickly as possible. You can't give anyone in this group. And it's a group that when we discussed it, you look at their form, there's so little to split them.
60.
They've all done big things on some of the biggest stages in the darting world.
41.
Made his debut here back in August last year, did Jamie Owens. And his story from non-league football star to a top player here at the Super Series really did capture the imagination of some of the
121.
red top newspapers. Scored over 500 goals at non-league level, playing for the likes of Newton Aycliffe,
6.
Billingham Town and Marske United, and featured in the 2018 FA Vars final with Stockton Town. They'd lose 1-0 to Fatcham Town. Jamie played the full 90 minutes of that particular clash. And, well, he's had all the
57.
big name commentators commentate on him because that match was being described by Peter Drury, who's now the voice of the Premier League.
108. Graeme McGuire, 126.
Well, he was a treble 19 away from the ball and possibly hitting Jamie Owens of a second consecutive ton plus checkout. But Jamie Owens may have to hit Graeme here the way that Graeme hit him in the first leg.
Well, he's found the 180 to leave it on, but no, the 138 not going to go on this occasion. Treble 20 would have
58.
left tops.
Graeme
And
McGuire,
now
72.
all Owens can do is hope Hall can't convert this 72. We'll stay there. So one dart in hand at tops, and one
Game's on
dart
the
is all
second
that's
leg.
required.
Graeme
It's 2
Hall.
out of 2 on the outer ring so far for Graeme Hall.
And he's kind of playing with this efficiency,
Third
Graeme
leg,
Hall,
it's
over the
Jamie
course
to
of
throw
Group
first.
A. His overall numbers, 89.04. That kind of dropped because actually his numbers on Wednesday weren't as good as it was on Monday and
58.
Tuesday. But his doubling was ultra reliable over the course of those 3 days. 51 hits from 137 attempts. 37% was his finishing stats over the course
96.
of 15 games in that particular group. Averaged in excess of 90 in each of the opening 2 days, and in this
6.
one averaging 91.5 and 2 from 2 on his doubles.
And it's those kind of stats, those kind of figures, they aren't going to win your games. Okay, he had to rely on a big finish to take out that opening leg, but I really think it kind of knocked the wind out of
97.
Jamie Owens, who was absolutely cruising in that opener.
I know Chris Mason talks about the theory of holding in 15 and breaking in 12,
29.
particularly at the top echelons of the game. But sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes actually going 3 darts further in that in terms of making sure that you're breaking 5 visits and maybe the odd 6 visit leg here and there. It might not win you every game, but it may
98.
win you a fair few.
Yeah, and I think that you just look at the averages, and there's evidence for that. I just think when you get the opportunity, if you can take your finishing like we've seen from Graeme Hall so far this evening,
140.
that's what wins you games. And as I say, it just knocks the confidence out of your opponent as well. You can see Jamie kind of head down in the background. We're only a couple of legs in.
And look, you average 17 darts a leg, you're going to be around about 88.5 on average. And we talk about that being a high echelon here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth as he looks at 115 here to open up a 3-0 lead.
58. Graeme, you require 115.
I'm sure in the back of Hall's mind, he'll think there's a likelihood he's got 6 from here, but may just need the 3 just in the 18. But tops once again the target.
75.
Not to go on
Jamie
this
require
occasion.
156.
And I think there may have been a part of Jamie Owens there that expected that to go. Now that first dart's perfect for him. Finds the second, double 18. And that wasn't too far away, and that was to hit Graeme Hall back.
Graeme, you require 40.
It really wasn't, but that was also for a holder throw, because if Graeme Hall can find this tops target here, he'll be throwing for the match, and that would be a second consecutive 4-0 if he can get across the line.
Game shot on the
There
third
it is,
leg. Graeme
3-0.
Hall.
An advantage now, all in favour of Graeme Hall.
Fourth leg,
15,
it's
18,
Graeme to throw
17,
first.
the winning legs
Game on.
for Graeme in this contest. Efficient, I think, would probably be the best word to describe that. Average still above that 90 mark. 3 from 5 in terms of his doubling.
60.
But just a glimmer of an opportunity here presented on the Graeme Hall throw. Troublous start there.
134.
Yeah, made the most of it as well. Had to switch, but 2 treble 19s found just to take a slight advantage.
$44.
It's interesting having a little chat with Graeme earlier on this evening before the action got underway, and he's basically saying in terms of the Group B tonight, the key is just to get out the gate early, get some early wins, because the way this group pans out, it's 3 from 5, and by and large, 8 points probably more likely than not will get you through with a decent legs difference. And if you can win 3 tonight, then even though he won't ease up on day 2, he knows he's given himself the best possible chance of getting into Saturday night.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. We talk obviously about these group stages, but ultimately the only goal is to make it through to Saturday. We know anything can happen on a Saturday night. But don't know if you spotted it, but Owens once again left himself on that big fish.
108.
Just like in that game against Victor Tingstrom, he's going to have to take it out. Otherwise, it could be in a bit of trouble. Another one of them. Not to be. Well, Graeme Hall kickstarted the game for 145. Is he going to finish off at 117? He may have to if he's going to win this leg.
Require 117.
Yeah, that's high. Switch down for the 19s and just pulls it slightly to the right.
45. Jamie, you require 30.
Well, Jamie Owens has only had the 2 chances at a double in this match so far. Not happy with that, but one more dart in hand just to rescue the match.
22. Graeme, you require
Well, that could be curtains.
72.
So for the match, 72 for Graeme Hall to round off a comprehensive 4-0 victory. He's been good on his doubling, but he's not good there. And Jamie Owens gets a reprieve.
8.
He gets one last life.
Game shot on the 4th leg.
This time, Jamie Owens does find the double. You can see the shake of their head, but it is a breaker throw for Owens.
5th leg. It's Jamie to throw first.
And we know until that player gets across the finish line, absolutely anything can happen.
$140.
Jamie Owens with the nickname J-Lo, and he'll be hoping that his form on the floor will translate to the big stage.
The fact that you laugh before you've even finished the sentence.
96.
I mean,
That's all I have.
$60.
Live on Pluto TV, where the darts don't cost a thing.
You have very much more extensive knowledge of the back catalogue of J-Lo than I do, I'm afraid,
41.
Henry.
Hey, I used to know a little, now I know a lot. Shall we get back to the
80.
darts?
That could be an idea. Well, Owens has once again put himself in a good position just to edge himself ever closer to levelling up the match against Graeme Hall. I mean, Graeme Hall, you look at what he's
6.
done. He's obviously, as you mentioned before, he's had a tour card, going to come off the tour, but he's been making good inroads this year in the Challenge Tour. Made a couple of finals and found himself with a couple of invites back onto Pro Tour as well.
22.
He's stating that one of his aims is to get back straight away, and he's had some success on the ADC circuit as well in 2025. He's in a good position to qualify for the Global Championship come the end of the year. And that, his second max of the contest, leaves him on a finish to eventually get this game won. He missed opportunities, missed a opportunity in the previous leg to wrap it up.
59.
And he's going to get a
Graeme,
look
you
here at
require
this 1-2-4 to complete a 4-1 success.
Yeah, needs treble 18. And in a very similar style to what we saw maybe a leg or two ago. Just goes slightly the wrong side of the treble to leave himself a bullseye. So now just looking to tee up. And
37.
yeah, a bit of a disastrous visit there
Jamie
for Graeme
require
Hall.
140. $100. Graeme, you require 87.
Well, Jamie Owens is hot on the tail here, Graeme Hall, and he'll want to get this done and dusted as quickly as possible. Otherwise, this could begin to get a little bit tetchy for him. And he's missed the big number. Owens is going to get 3 more to bring it back to 3-2.
Yeah, and I
Jamie
saw the reaction from
require
Owens in the
40.
background. I don't think he was expecting the miss on the big 20. Yeah, one dart, double 5.
35. Graeme, you require 52.
Well, that'd be a source of frustration because he's worked hard to get that opportunity to get himself back in the match, and it could be over here and now. Graeme Hall comes back for 52. 2 in his hand, a double 16. To wrap up a 4-1 victory. He was the bookmaker's favourite to win this group was Graeme Hall, and he is off to a winning start. He gets the better of Jamie Owens by 4 legs. Well, it was actually hard work in the end. Jamie Owens was threatening a mini revival, but Graeme Hall was able to outpower him. He kicked things off with that 145 checkout, which for a little while knocked the stuffing out of his opponent from Stockton on tees. Coming up after the break, we're going to see Jamie Lewis back on the stage. He takes on John O'Shea, who's already won tonight. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. Before the break, we saw Graeme Hall get the better of Jamie Owens by 4-1 to kick off his night's accounts. We're going to see Jamie Lewis for the first time this week. Fireball back in the building. He takes on John O'Shea, who's already racked up a 4-0 victory tonight when he got the better of Alex Small to kick off the night session. Weekly finalist last time he was here, Jamie Lewis, the 33-year-old from Carmarthenshire in Wales, former World Championship semi-finalist, up against John O'Shea, 49 years of age, from Cork, proudly representing the Republic of Ireland, as he did a couple of weeks ago at the International Pairs Tournament. And the Joker is hoping to come out from the pack and lift a weekly title for the very first time on Saturday evening. Well, yet again, it's a meeting of Wales and the Republic of Ireland on the live lounge stage.
First leg, it's Jamie
Whether it be in an international sense or in singles play, they're always intriguing battles. And two nations for whom their players certainly play with a lot of pride. And well, this was the moment we were all looking forward to, weren't we? Everybody has kept asking this question for weeks and weeks and months and months. When is Lewis going to play in Series 11? Well, there's the answer to your question, everybody. He is here, and it was worth all of the waiting, Laura Turner.
Yeah, very good, Henry. Very good, I think.
140.
So very good, but it's a good start from Jamie Lewis. Yeah, John just not quite happy with the grip. Dart just slipped out of his hand. And the one thing I will say,
26.
for John O'Shea, it was the perfect start, the 4-0 victory. Obviously, 2 points on the board, great leg difference for him. But what I've learned when I've watched him over the years, he doesn't always make things easy for himself, John O'Shea. So it'll be interesting to see if he can actually just, keep this winning streak going, or whether he kind of comes right down to the wire. Because even when we watched him at international pairs the other week, the qualification stages right through to that 9-dart shootout, nothing was particularly straightforward.
Well, even John would be the first to admit that everything he's done has come through trials and tribulations, come through the battles that he's had to go through to get to the successes that he did. He was close to stepping away from the sport when he picked up the World Masters title 6 years ago now.
144.
And some may say that there's still one more big one in him.
Yeah, and I think John would totally agree with that sentiment as well. It's something he's always said he's got more to offer and more that he wants to win. Well, tops for an early breaker throw here, but it's awkward. John just shuffling along the oche, trying to find the right angle, but that's a great dart. Manages to find a pathway through.
Breaker throw for John O'Shea. Takes a 1-0 lead.
John to throw first.
He's one of those players, John, that everybody knows how good he is. Everybody knows the ability he's got. But what he sometimes does is he'll go under the radar, maybe not do something for a little while. And then suddenly, bam, something happens completely out the blue. When he won the World Masters, completely under the radar. Then he played at the Worlds, had a quiet year or so, picked up his tour cards. And maybe it's just in that space now where there's signs his game is getting back to a very good level. And maybe this is the period of his career where maybe he begins to strike again.
Yeah, it could well be. And go back to that World Masters win. I believe it was Scott
85.
Waits that he played in the final, and if Scott Waits had won, that would have meant that my husband, Aaron, would have been in the World Championship. Because John O'Shea won and wasn't already qualified. He took that last qualification spot, which meant that a year of travelling for Aaron was unfortunately not rewarded with a spot of the World Championships. So, yeah, we didn't talk about John O'Shea for a little while in our house. But they are the fine margins that you work to.
95.
I'm sure Scott Waits probably wasn't spoken about in the house for a while either.
Actually, no. Yeah, Scott was in our bad books as well for a while.
Well, John O'Shea is in
78.
Control of this game. Jamie
Only
Lewis there has
require
left himself with a bogey, so
149.
it's 6 on this point for 2-0. May just need the 3. Not to be this time.
97. $58. John, you require
Yeah,
52.
treble list visit there for Jamie Lewis, and 52 points required for John O'Shea. Double 16 for a 2-0 lead.
20.
It's been a
Jamie
long day.
It
require
has indeed,
104.
it has. Yeah, 15 games this afternoon. We've got another 10 here for Group B this evening.
Not to beat. And so O'Shea back for 32. And he hasn't actually dropped a leg so
56.
far tonight. He won
Only
his first game
require
4-0.
32.
This could be 6 in a row to kick off his night. Double 8.
Game
2-0
John,
it
the
is.
second
And
leg.
John O'Shea, just like in his first game against Alex Small, is in cruise control of this one.
Third leg, it's Jamie to throw first.
Well, let's talk a little
Game
bit
on.
more about Jamie Lewis then, shall we? Because it's the second time we've seen him here in the last couple of series. It's the third time we've seen him all told in this tournament. He's qualified for
134.
Saturday in each of his previous 2 appearances here. Didn't get out of his group the last time he was here. It was a group,
140.
or week, shall I say, that consisted of a finals night field of Leonard Gates, the other player, drop out the quarterfinals. Colin Osborne and Kevin Burness were in the semis. Peter Achuri from Kenya made the final.
81.
Him and his fans who adorned the Vuvuzelas. And Scott Campbell would go on to win that particular
96.
week and make it through to Champions Week. But this is all a process for Jamie, who's coming back into the game after a little while away. Did see him at the Lakeside a couple of years ago, has dabbled in some WDF competition. But for him, his last appearance was kind of a suck up and see whether he had that will, that want, that
65.
desire to really
Jamie
play at this
require
level again,
106.
where his game was at. And I think he took a lot away from his previous appearance. And the early indications are actually, in terms of the way he's playing, he's being outplayed by his opponent. But
58.
John O'Shea's played some decent stuff. But actually, Jamie Lewis, it looks like things are in decent nick again for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you go back to, say, Jamie Lewis when he
100.
made it all the way through to
Jamie
the semi-finals of the World
48.
Championships 2018. That was kind of when he was really at his peak, and as you mentioned, just took that break away from the sport, and now just trying to see if it's something he wants to return to.
16. John, you require 100.
Well, they were both hold close to the wire there, weren't they, the double 16. So John O'Shea to make it 7 consecutive legs, looking at tops, and now double 10 for a
John,
ton
the
finish.
third leg. John
And a
O'Shea.
3-0 lead. And so far, this has been destructive from the Joker.
Fourth leg, it's John to throw first.
Quite literally
Game on.
not giving up an inch so far.
Well, I noticed John O'Shea's got the infamous Joker line
140.
tattooed on his hand of why so serious, but this is a serious performance from the man from Ireland. And that last one, that ton finish, that would have hurt, because really that was a leg where Jamie Lewis had put himself in a really, really good position to get himself back into the match and was punished severely.
Yeah, that's a saying I can live by.
100.
Because I've never done anything serious in my life.
$125.
But this is seriously good from John O'Shea. Average just under 96, 95 and a half, and he really is putting his foot on the throttle. He's going through the gears, and he may well see the checkered flag before too long.
Yeah, back comes Jamie Lewis, trying to hang on to the
135.
coattails, but it
John, you require
could be
41.
a bit too far here as John O'Shea looking for 32 for another
John
4-0
O'Shea.
victory, and it is
John
a 4-0 win for John O'Shea over Jamie Lewis. Back-to-back 4-0 victories for the Joker. He is not joking tonight. He means business. This is all seriousness from him. And here we can take a quick look at the stats. And there you see averages just under 100 for John O'Shea and just over 90 for Jamie Lewis. Only afforded 2 chances at the outer ring, but it was 50% for John O'Shea at the doubles, including that ton checkout. Well, coming up next, we've got Alex Small, and he'll be taking on Jamie Owens.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie require 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
require
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the
81.
stage,
Charlie
approaching the
require
hockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
require
he's gone to
118.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George Scaife wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
require
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Got
Couldn't
it,
get the job
it.
done.
Got it, the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Scaife.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Scaife!
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. 3 games down on this Thursday night, and 2 of them have featured 4-0 victories for John O'Shea. 2 games played and 8 legs won for John O'Shea in this one. So game number 4 of the evening session sees Alex Small and Jamie Owens go head-to-head here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Well, these two looking to get on the boards. Alex Small losing out 4-0 to John O'Shea. Jamie Owens losing out 4-1 to Graeme Hall to kick off his evening. Jamie got better as that first game came to a close. Looked as if he was beginning to threaten
First leg, it's
somewhat
Alex
of a
at the
mini
first.
comeback
Game on.
in that particular contest. Was 3-0 down, pulled one back, had darts to bring it back to 3-2, wasn't able to
50, sir.
take that chance, and Graeme Hall beat him as a result. Whilst for Alex Small, he missed 6 darts at a double in a 4-0 loss to John O'Shea. So 2 players that will just want to get on the
58.
board no matter what, really.
Yeah, and I think they'll both probably look back at the matches that their opening matches and think perhaps, you know, it was. I wouldn't say necessarily one that got away just because of the scorelines. However, there were chances, albeit they were limited. I mean, you talk about the 6 darts that Small had in that match against John O'Shea, but it was limited to 1 leg. And that's what John O'Shea's actually done. He's just done the same to Lewis as well. You know, 2 darts at a double, but limited to 1 leg once again. And that's what John seems to be doing. Just seems to be kind of cutting people down. But now all attention comes to the players that haven't yet registered a win. And coming into tonight, you know, they're both 2 players that were quite well fancied in terms of how they were going to progress throughout the Group B campaign.
60.
Well, Alex Small's going to have to roll his boots up here.
Do you roll your boots up? I thought you rolled your socks up. Or pulled your socks up. Do you roll your boots up?
100.
I was going to use it as a segue, but it definitely didn't work.
Sorry, I just ruined what you were trying to do.
Let's just forget that ever happened.
Sorry, Henrik.
Alec leaves himself 57 to take the opening leg. It'd be the first leg that he's won all night.
Alec, you require 57.
Kind of intrigued to see how it might have gone now.
I'll let you know in the next leg. Double top.
Game shot on the first leg.
And Alex Small is a leg to the goods. Now,
second leg, it's Jamie to throw
Alec
first.
was telling me all about his
on.
footwear earlier on this evening. Yep, me and Alec were talking cobblers.
140.
And he was telling me that he's got brand new shoes because you may remember once upon a time he was wearing a very
36.
shiny pair which wasn't comfortable. It turned out to be, maybe size-wise, one that didn't fit. Size 15 feet, Alex Small has.
96.
And he bought those pair off of a very popular website, which 1 or 2 of you may have bought
45.
some things from in the past. As for Jamie Owens, well, he's just doing the conventional thing that dart players in 2025 do. Head to your local Sports Direct and find a pair of
133.
trainers that work for you.
100. Jamie, you require 132.
It doesn't have to go the treble 19 route. Does. Bullseye left.
92.
Yeah, opts to tee up, and that's a sensible option in my opinion. Because this is what Alec can do.
108. Jamie require 40.
So top 12 level match. Double 10.
20.
And Alex Small
Alec,
here
you
has got an
require
opportunity to pounce and
140.
open up a 2-leg advantage. But he's going to have to find something big. Another one of them just underneath.
120. Jamie required 20.
Yeah, through the last one high just to make sure, but could be all
Game
academic,
shot on
and
the
it
second
is.
leg, Jamie Owens.
Jamie Owens levels it up at 1 apiece. Everything going with throw so far.
Third leg, it's Alec to throw first. Game on.
Well, if you compare the numbers of both players on paper, there's not too much really to
140.
separate them. Annually, Jamie Owens running at an average of 84.48, doubling it just under 31%. And if you actually have a look at Alex Small's numbers for Group A,
100.
for somewhat of a comparison, 84.66 his numbers over 15 games, and
100.
32%, 45 hits from 140 goes at a double over the course of 15 matches.
140. $57.
Yeah, as you say, not much to split them statistically, and not much to split them in this match either. Despite a bit of a disparity by about 5-6 points in the average scoreline, and the
97.
scoreline and legs pretty much identical.
140.
That's a big
Jamie
140
require
from Alex Small.
164.
Pretty much forces Jamie to take out this 164, and he's not going to.
Yeah, 22 scored, 142 left.
79. Alec, you require 64.
One dart in hand at tops.
44. Jamie, you require 85.
And is that an opportunity now for Owens just to punish that missed dart at a double?
$45. Alec, you require
He's missing
20.
a lot of opportunities. 1 from 6 on his doubles. Jamie Owens, is he going to be punished? No is the answer.
No score. Jamie, you
Now,
require
he had a similar
40.
type of opportunity against Graeme Hall when the game went back to 3-1, which he couldn't take, and it cost him dearly.
20.
Is something similar about
Alec,
to
you
happen here?
require 20.
Chasing it around the board once again, but that should be a good guide if you can use
10.
it. And, try
Jamie
to find a
required
space to the
20.
right, but didn't quite get the level correct.
2 10s again.
Game shot in the
But
third
eventually,
leg.
Jamie Owens gets that leg under his belt. The double 5 is found. The break accrued, and he leads 2-1.
Fourth flag. It's Jamie to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, both players shaking their heads. They know they had more darts at a double than they would normally be afforded.
43.
I think it's fair to say 2 players that very much wear their heart on their sleeves. You know exactly how they're feeling.
139.
Particularly in the case of Jamie Owens. Sometimes we've got to really dig deep to think what a player's thinking, but
134.
he really does exude what he thinks, exude his thoughts, exudes his enthusiasm of the game.
94.
And I think you see that, especially from players that have come from a different sport. You know, they have a different kind of
96.
approach to it, a different competitive edge, I guess. And obviously, we mentioned that Owens has got that prolific
98.
background in non-league football. But you can liken it to the likes of, say, a Gerwyn Price, coming with the rugby background. There are plenty of players now that are actually transitioning over to
100. Alec, you
darts,
require
having had
170.
relatively successful careers in other sports.
Another. Not to be. And so Owens will be back for
98.
1-2-8
Jamie
to
require
open up a
128.
2-leg gap in this contest. Not to be this time. And so Small will be back for 72 to square this game up at 2-2.
48. Alec, you require 72.
20 for tops, and he's left himself a bit of space to the right-hand side of the tops target.
32. Jamie, you
More
require
missed
80.
chances. It's 1 from 8 for Alex, 2 from 11 for Jamie.
We have to say, from 1-2-8 down, Jamie Owens has made a little bit of a mess of this. And so Alex Small has an opportunity to break his
Alec, you
opponent back, to
require
level this
40.
game up at 2-2. And crucially for him, to get the game back on throw, because it was a game he
It's
had
on
the
the fourth flag,
advantage
Alex
of
Small.
throw in, and he regathers that by pinning that tops. Level we are at 2-2.
Fifth
But I think it's a
flag,
very true
Alex to
point
throw
that you
first.
make in the previous
Game
leg
on.
about players that translate from other sports, particularly, I suppose, team sports like football and rugby, because
100.
there's a mentality when you're inside that dressing room that kind of gets drummed into you that when that bell goes and the referee gets you lined up in that tunnel, that you're ready to go for
100.
war, or you're ready to go to war, shall I say. And that naturally heightens up your emotions and that. And then when you
125.
score a goal or when you score a try, you see that big celebration as a result. And I just think that natural mentality then translates to anything else that you do. And I
46.
don't think darts in that case is any kind of exception.
No, and I think perhaps now we're seeing this kind of integration of more players coming across from other
6.
sports. Then they're bringing some of that methodology. Can't speak this evening, but some of the kind of tactics and things across the darts
82.
that perhaps we wouldn't normally associate with it. So you're kind of getting. You're seeing now the use of sports psychologists. We're seeing more coaching happening. We're
39.
seeing people, kind of using managers more. It's not something that's ever really been kind of that big in darts until, I would say, really the last kind of 5+ years.
It's something that I suppose people have seen now as a
Awesome.
genuine career option more than perhaps it ever was before. I think even if you go back 10 years ago, if you were sat at school and, for example, and it's one of those things that they say a job fair, or what do you want to do when you're old? I want to be a dart player. You'd almost get told off for that, where actually that's all changed now. It's a genuine viable option. It's something you can genuinely, or it feels as if it's perceived, is genuinely attainable.
66. Jamie, you require 138.
Is this 138 attainable? Another one of them leads double 12. Not to be, so Small is back for 3-2.
86. Alec, you require 14.
Double 7, though, not a given.
Game shot
But
on
no
the
issue
fifth
there
leg.
for Alex Small. No, I mean, you
Sixth
go
leg,
back
it's Jamie to throw first.
to what you were just saying, and
Game on.
I think actually when I started playing darts, it wasn't officially a sport. I don't think I actually got official sports status until 2005, off the top of my head.
100.
So yeah, trying to explain to your PE teacher at the time, I can't, I won't be here because I'm playing darts at the
121.
weekend. You kind of get this. You used to get this very strange look, and it wasn't really regarded as, like I say, it wasn't even regarded as an official sport then. Now,
77.
I know when my daughters go to school, because they know that I'm involved in darts, both playing and the commentary side of things. That's
98.
the point of conversation. And they're really, really kind of into it. Get sweepstakes going with in the classes as well. And I think people are starting to recognise how it can
58.
actually help children when it comes to the math side. You speak to Devon Peterson and all that kind of stuff as well. So it's definitely much more in the public eye.
57.
And I think it's just, more positively received than it used to be.
It's been taken seriously as well, isn't it, more than it ever has done before? Well, I think there's been times where very publicly or not very publicly, the
54.
feel of the sport has almost been laughed off a little bit. Well, I think people have actually come to realise now actually what is seriously in play.
58.
Yeah, and it's captured the imagination of a nation. And I know a lot of that is down to individuals. I think for me, I guess I saw it when Fallon Sherrock won and the kind of press that got. And then along came
78.
Luke Littler, and we
Alec,
kind
you
of see where
require
the sport is now. It's
167.
selling out arenas like the O2. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, I've seen a
60.
couple of
Jamie
taglines this
require
evening that potentially the Premier League
134.
could be heading to Belgium next year, according to an interview that has taken place. Here's a 1-3-4 finish potentially for Jamie Owens, not to be here.
94.
And
Alec,
so
you
Alex
require
Small here, who lost his
107.
first game, remember, 4-0 to John O'Shea, is looking to come back with a win of his own. But he's missed the big
75.
number, and is he going to pay the
Jamie
price? And are we
require
going all the
40.
way for the first time tonight?
Yeah, real sarcastic nod of the head. You have to make sure of the single numbers because you don't normally get afforded more chances. But it's Jamie Owens here missing a golden opportunity.
It's on
He's
the
not.
sixth leg.
It is
Jamie
3-all.
Owens.
We do have our first game that goes the distance this evening.
7th and final leg. It's Alec to throw first. Game on. 123.
Well, this is the longest game we've seen this evening.
100. $83. 140.
Yeah, just a reminder, both players yet to pick up a win tonight. There's an essential 2 points on offer here for whoever can get across the line
47.
first.
Well, Jamie Owens has effectively turned the darts over here. If he can find a big score, then he would have been in a good suit. But the
43.
advantage that he'd chipped away from himself, he's whittled away himself. And Alex Small here looking to press for home. He had an opportunity to win the match in the previous leg. He should get another opportunity here.
Second match of the max, but what a time to hit it. 180 to leave yourself 68 for
68.
possibility of a 4-3 win.
It's double 16 for
Game
Alex
shot
Small
and the
to get his
match.
first win
Alex
of the
Small.
night, and for Jamie Owens, the man who was second favourite with the odds compilers to win this group. Well, he's going to have a strong end to the evening because he's lost his opening couple of encounters on this Thursday evening. This the tale of the tape. Alex Small winning with an average in excess of 85, 4 from 13 on his doubles. Really kind of playing to tight this week. Or he's tight for the week, shall I say. Coming up after the break, Graeme Hall takes on Jamie Lewis. Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius? Yes. Let's do it then. Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Lewandowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy. So receive the trophy. £25,000. The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And the new Modus Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor?
One more time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McGuire.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Luke Littler! Welcome back to Pluto TV and its continuing coverage of the Modus Super Series. We're 4 games down on this Thursday night. Before the break, Alex Small got the better Jamie Owens by 4 legs to 3. Game number 5 is a meeting between Jamie Lewis and Graeme Hall. Graeme winning his opening match against Jamie Owens by 4 legs to 1. Now, Jamie Lewis, actually, in terms of the scoring phase of his game, he looked okay, had a couple of darts at a double, but was suppressed by the brilliance of John O'Shea, who beat him 4-0. There were signs of some decent stuff from Jamie, but as I mentioned, wasn't really allowed to play in that opening game of the evening session. So what we're going to see from him here as we reach the halfway point of our Thursday night session here in Portsmouth. It's Graeme Hall to get us underway And as I mentioned, you look at Jamie's scoring in that game against John O'Shea, it was pretty much there or thereabouts.
Yeah, it was. It was just, it was brilliant timing from John
121.
O'Shea, especially that ton check out, just to deny Jamie Lewis any more chances at the outer ring. But yeah, lots that he can take forward. If he can kind of kick off the way that he finished that match, because he got better as the match went on, then yeah, he's definitely going to put himself in a position to try and qualify. But at the moment, it's Graeme Hall, that man there, that's got a couple of points already on the board. Jamie Lewis hasn't actually managed to pick up a leg as of yet.
This is all a process, really, for Jamie to
58.
see where his game's at and to see how he really shapes up and fares. As I say, last time he was here, he put in some decent performances. Looked settled, looked back at home on the big stage after a little while away.
140.
And I suppose he's at that stage where we know how good Jamie is, but there's not oodles of expectation on his shoulders. And I think he'll enjoy that. He can almost play with a little bit of freedom, which
Graeme, you require
probably for a time
140.
after that run to the semi-finals of the World Championships was probably somewhat lacking. Every single time he was playing, I suppose, whether it was us in the media or fans or
85.
maybe even some people in his corner, there was that expectation of following up that one great feat that he had at Alexandra Palace.
Yeah, and quite often when we talk about players that come to the Modus Super Series, we
Graeme,
look
you
at the likes
require
of the
55.
up-and-comings that go on to then go and claim their tour cards, the likes of, Marvin van Velzen, Connor Scott, Adam Lipscomb. We also then have the opposite, where we get the kind of more legends of the game.
15.
So your Steve Beatons, Mervyn Kings, your John Hendersons. But actually, there is another group, and it is the likes of, say, a Jamie Lewis, or who we saw this afternoon in Pim van Bynen, and James Hubbard, the ones that
78.
perhaps not
Graeme, you
quite where they
require
want to be
40.
in the game, and come here at the Super Series with perhaps not as much expectation, but the opportunity to just see where their game is at.
That rebuilding phase, which begins here for Jamie Lewis, but
No score.
this game could begin with him taking the first leg,
Graeme, you
because Graeme
require
Hall has missed 3 darts at
107.
tots. They're all quite close to the wire, particularly that last one. I think we were all surprised he didn't find a way in. And Jamie Lewis here has got an opportunity to get a breaker throw and to get his first leg of the night, but he needs to find the 107 to do exactly that. And he's going to get a dart in his hand, a double 16.
75.
Kisses the wire himself.
Graeme, you require
And so Graeme Hall will
40.
be back for 3 more.
Well, down over to double 10. Now chasing it around, double 5.
Game shot
This
the
time
first leg.
does make
Graeme
sure,
Hall.
but it took 8 goes. That a double in that leg, Graeme Hall, to see it off.
Second leg, it's Jamie to throw first. Game on.
And he got there in the end. And I think that's what he'll care about more than anything else.
140.
Graham's having a great time of it on the
57.
ADC Championship Tour this year. It looks more likely than not we may well see him at the Tour Finals, currently number 4 in that particular order of merit, which gives him 2 things.
140.
A, an opportunity to play here at the Tour Championship Finals. That takes place later on in the year live on Pluto TV. And if he can stay in the top 4 of that order of merit come the end of the final 3 events of the season,
100.
which takes place at the Mattioli Arena in Leicester, then he will get a direct invite and a qualification spot for the end-of-year Global Championship, which yields a top prize pot
135.
of £60,000.
Yeah, massive prize money. It's kind of life-changing money, especially towards the careers of players that are trying to get back out. And the likes of Graeme get back on that Pro Tour scene.
Jamie require 86.
So Jamie looking at double 16. That's an
It's
11
on the
darter.
second
That's a
leg.
class
Jamie Lewis.
leg from Jamie Lewis. And we're back level at 1 apiece.
Yeah, superb
leg,
response.
it's
And what a
Graeme
way
to
to
the
win your
first.
first leg of the evening
Game on.
out in 11 darts.
42.
Playing beautifully, isn't he?
100.
Gotta say, the throw looks as good now as it has done for a number of years. You could tell he's really put the hours in here, Jamie.
140.
Yeah, but there's a solid response there from Hall. This game is heating up nicely.
100.
There's a real flow to that throw now, where there was perhaps a point, particularly when the struggles just began to came in, where there was just a little bit of a judder and a halt in terms of the delivery of the dart.
100.
Averaging here 107.14. And I've got to say, there's some players that play like this and they look like they're playing within themselves, but he just looks so comfortable playing at this level.
Yeah, there's no kind of outward reaction. Very much taking everything in his stride, but huge opportunity here for Lewis to find a way to break the Hall throw.
43. Jamie McGuire, 81.
Could be back-to-back 11s here.
Yeah, just looking over at the scoreboard because Graeme isn't on a finish, so he knows he's got a chance at...
No score.
Well, had a chance there to tee up, but haven't seen that too often recently, but didn't put enough on it. Fell in the treble 20.
Graeme Hall finds a couple of trebles here. This leg has a completely different complexion to it.
100.
Well, both players now at a similar point of the leg. Jamie Lewis busting the 81 last time out. He's going to have to go back to the start. And now he's going to have to go for the ball.
And it is the ball.
56. Graeme requires 76.
How costly would busting that 81 prove to be? Because Graeme Hall here now, you feel, should at least get a dart at a double, if not two. It will be two.
Game shot on the third
That's
leg.
going to
Graeme
hurt. Graeme Hall puts his hand up in the air. He knows that that's a leg he
Full
should
flag.
never
It's
have
Jamie
won.
to
And
throw first.
he's slightly perplexed
Game
as to
on.
how he's got it in his pocket. But 2-1 he leads. And Jamie Lewis, who we were waxing lyrical about his scoring prowess, but he's let an opportunity slip there. He only had one dart at the bullseye in the end, having left 81 after just 9 darts.
It will be very frustrating for him.
140.
Had one dart in the first leg at the 107. Then, by way of busting the score, as you mentioned, just the one dart at ball to try and break the throw, but yet should never really got to that point.
177.
But the big scores do keep on coming.
Maxi, 177. 4 scores of 2 trebles.
100.
And it's that first dart there. When it hits like that, you just expect bedfellows.
137.
And once again, after 9, he leaves himself handy. He had an 11 dart in the second leg. Left himself an 81 after 9 in leg 3. 66 after 9 in leg 4. That type of scoring is going to do so much damage.
60.
And
Jamie
he's going to get 6
66.
darts from here, just like in the previous leg. But at least this time he's going to come back with 3 in hand and a double and not go back to the start.
Yeah, kind of made it a bit more straightforward for himself. Still needs to finish it off.
93. Jamie require 32.
So double 16 to square this game up. This should be for a 3-1 advantage.
No score.
But he could actually
Jamie
find
require
himself 3-1 down
108.
if Graeme Hall finds this 108.
Yeah, Hall pinned the 76 in the last. Can he add the 108? It's a perfect first start. 48 left. 16 for double 16 for a 108.
Game shot on the fourth
Very
flag.
well
Graeme Hall.
executed. Goes back to that word that you were using about Graeme Hall in his opening match, efficient. And he has been mightily
flag,
efficient when
it's
it comes
Graeme
to
to
the
the
finishing at the
reverse.
back end of this match.
Game on.
Well, this game could have been 3-1 in the other direction, but Graeme Hall, when opportunities presented itself, he has taken full advantage of it, and he has the darts in his hands here, and he's kicked off a 2 treble turn.
140.
And I think for Jamie Lewis, if he comes away losing this match, which is I'm not saying looking likely, but obviously Graeme Hall in a very strong position here, I think he will be scratching his head because, as you mentioned, that scoring down to 2-dart checkout on 2 occasions, on 3 occasions actually, not being able to execute 2 of them. Very frustrating for the Welshman.
Well, he's averaging 97.5 here, averaged 91.21 in his opening match. So it's there or thereabouts, but when push has come to shove, he's not been able to come up with the goods, which I suppose you could partly put down to the fact that he hasn't played too much. He hasn't got too many reps under the belt, and so he's not used to that pressurised situation as much as he would have done in his pomp when it would have been week in, week out, day in, day out.
$45.
Well, that's a bit of a slip for the last one there for Graeme. How badly is it going to be punished?
Oh, he'd like to find another one.
100. Graeme, you require 122.
He's got the release wrong, and now Graeme Hall has a chance to finish off the match here. 122 required. Good first. Yeah, good second. Just taking his time. 7-7 the target.
115. Jamie, you require 143.
That could prove to be a little bit disastrous.
Maybe irrelevant if Lewis could have found the 143, but now, as you say, it's going to be slightly precarious.
Graeme,
But Jamie Lewis
requires
himself
7.
decides, what do I do? It's 66 left. Oh, let's just throw a treble and see if Graeme Hall can take out this double 2. He does take out the double 2, and he seals a 4-1 success. Jamie Lewis, so far tonight, has averaged 91 and 97 in his 2 games. He's picked up just a solitary leg for those efforts. Graeme Hall, a 4-1 victory in that one. It was a 108, wasn't it? That was a real killer for Fireball in the end. He picks the pieces up. He seals a 4-1 success. And he, just like John O'Shea, 2 from 2 for their nights. And it is John O'Shea we're going to see next. He takes on Jamie Owens. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. We're halfway through the night here in this Group B session. This is what we have watched, and it's been a case of so far so good for John O'Shea and Graeme Hall. John O'Shea has won both of his matches without dropping a leg so far. Graeme Hall with a couple of 4-1 victories. Jamie Lewis so far tonight has averaged in excess of 90 in both of his matches, but has only picked up the solitary leg. This is how the table looks then at the midway point of the evening, and it looks just like this. John O'Shea and Graeme Hall, as you can see, maximum points of their name. Alex Small winning the other match this evening, and it's the two Jamies who find themselves down the bottom of the table. So let's get into match number 6, and it's Jamie Owens that is in action up against John O'Shea, who has won both his matches and has currently won all 8 legs that he has played this evening. As for Jamie Owens, a 4-1 defeat to Graeme Hall, a 4-3 loss to Alex Small has been the story of his night so far. And for John O'Shea, when you look at performances from game 1 to game 2, and there was a real increase in level. 98.5 the average against Jamie Lewis, 4 from 8 on the doubles.
First leg,
and
it's
apart
John
from
to throw first.
one leg in the middle of that contest, that looked world class on the Joker.
Yeah, and it was another match where he just seemed to get better and better. The confidence is really growing with John O'Shea. We know he's a
41.
confident player anyway, but winning and winning by some distance, it just breeds that extra bit. As for Jamie Owens, as you say, disappointment from the first couple of matches. Went 4-1 down, but really tight battle between him and Alex Small, just a couple of games away. But I think for Owens, you know, to get back to the finals night, that is going to be the goal. But this is going to be a tough group to try and get through.
But you look at all 5 players, and
56.
I don't think there's anybody that really overly stands out in terms of stature and status. You look at all 5 and you think all on their night is very, very capable of doing a job over one another, but also very susceptible of being beaten by one another if they have a bit of an off night. I suppose what I'm trying to say in as many words as possible is
39.
on paper it's a very tight looking group.
Yeah, John O'Shea here though with a real opportunity to try and stretch the lead at the top of the
66.
table. Pull away from Graeme Hall in second place. Same points tally for him. And obviously, with regards to Hall and O'Shea, they actually play each other in the penultimate match of the evening.
140. $58.
Well, door perhaps ajar here for Jamie against the throat. But he's unable to make any openings.
25.
In fact, he's unable to leave himself on a
Johnny
finish. And
require
so O'Shea here,
140.
looking at 140, and he's got 6 darts from here to take out the opening leg. What he'd give for one to be sandwiched through the
6.
middle, he's unable to find, but he's going to come back for 80.
I think that'll be a source of frustration for Jamie Owens because the setup play hasn't really been on point so far tonight. And then when he has had those chances at a double,
Johnny require
3 from
80.
14 in that last match against Alex Small, and he would expect himself to be finishing off the legs much more efficiently.
40. Jamie require 90.
It may just be a poke of the bullseye on the back of this particular combination. Well, the double top, he's double 50.
On the first leg, Jamie Owens.
And how many times do you see a dart which goes into a target you don't
Second leg,
expect,
it's Jamie to
but then
throw
when it
first.
gets to dart free,
Game on.
it emphatically finds its end destination. Owens one up.
Yeah, nothing wrong with an accidental double combination finish. Ultimately,
80.
the double 15 is a bigger target to try and find than the bullseye, so it worked out well for Owens in the end. And it is the first leg that John O'Shea has lost this evening. And it's the leg that he's lost against the throw, but maybe that's just a little bit of a fire under him.
Yep, the streak ends at 8.
58. $125.
And it looks like he's taken it personally.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with the Joker.
58.
You got the Joker and the Riddler this week here at the Live Lounge in
121.
Portsmouth.
$112. Johnny requires 75.
And the Joker is looking to respond in emphatic style, but misses the big
35.
number. He is going to come back for tops after 12 because Jamie Owens, who broke in the first leg, has been unable to keep up with the scoring power of John
95.
O'Shea in
Johnny
leg
require
2,
40.
who has 3 in his hand at double top to square up at 1 apiece.
Chasing it round.
20. Jamie requires
Shake of the head
98.
there because he knows full well that was a massive opportunity to break back, level it back up, and now it's a chance here for Owens if he can find the treble, which he does. Double 12.
74.
Pinches the
Johnny
wire, clips the
requires
wire.
20.
And O'Shea is back for double 10 to square this game back up. Inviting. Up for double 5.
10.
And that clips the top of the
Jamie
wire. And
requires
Jamie Owens is
24.
back for a 2-0 lead.
First real signs of frustration we've seen from John O'Shea. Has been pretty much
Yeah,
plain
shot on the
sailing
second
for him
leg.
in the first
Jamie
couple of
Owens.
matches, but this one sees him trail 2 legs to 0.
Third leg, it's John to throw first.
Well, after he won that leg,
Game
Jamie Owens looked like he wanted to give Jack Garwood a high five.
$100.
Two 0 up, but he's a player that sets very high
60.
standards of himself, and he will know that so far this season it's just been a little bit uncharacteristic for him, some of the performances that
140.
he's yielded so far. But if he can get out of this with 4 points, he wins this one, and then in his last game is able to beat Jamie Lewis, I think he'll be
60.
really happy with that kind of a turn.
Yeah, day one in Group B really is just making sure you kind of walk away with at least a couple of wins under your belt. You've got
140.
everything to play for going into the second night tomorrow. Obviously, all the action concludes from 10 o'clock tomorrow night live on Pluto TV.
37. John, you require
But before
121.
that, we actually get to see from 1 o'clock, don't we? All the action in Group C first.
Plenty of darts for you tomorrow afternoon
105.
from Group C. Oh, decent leg this from John O'Shea. Double 8 left after just a dozen darts to get himself on the board. And
94.
well, it looks like he's got all the
Johnny
time he
requires
wants because
16.
Jamie Owens finds himself all the way back on 250. 2 8s for O'Shea. Now double 4.
12.
Now
it could get a little bit messy.
I agree, and he's had John O'Shea 10 darts at a double in this match. Hasn't been able to convert one, and he's just allowing Jamie
100.
just that
Johnny
opportunity to chip
require
away at
4.
the score. Just wants to get this taken here and now.
Madhouse.
No score. Jamie, you require 150.
And Jamie Owens here looking at 150 to open up a 3-0 lead and get the double breaker throw.
Yeah, not going to go. So more
98.
chances for the Joker.
John, you require 4. Game shot on
And
the
this
third
time he
leg.
does
John
find it, and a
O'Shea.
sarcastic raise of the arms from John O'Shea. Well, I say sarcastic, but he will be pleased to have
Fourth
seen
leg,
off
it's
that
Jamie
leg.
to throw
Keeps
first.
him well and truly interested in the match.
The game's certainly being played in good spirit between these two.
140.
I think they both know they're not playing to their top level, not for the want of trying, but sometimes just that little bit of a release of that
86.
tension could actually just loosen the arm up a little bit and just loosen the players up a little bit.
100.
For John O'Shea, the issue in this
45.
game is fairly simple. 1 from 14 in terms of his doubling so far in this contest.
97.
That's the dart that he's looking for. That first one.
98.
Yeah, the treble 20 couldn't make the most of it. And it's Jamie Owens that's got a real commanding lead in leg number 4.
64. 100. Jamie require 100.
Owens has at least 6 darts from here for 100. May only need the 2. And it is just 2 he needs.
Jamie Owens.
A point to the board as to say, where have you been this evening? There it is.
Fifth flag. It's John to throw first.
And a 3-1 lead he opens up. One away from his first win, and it would inflict a first
96.
defeat to the evening upon John O'Shea, who will play Graeme Hall in his last game of the evening session. That in game number 9.
100.
Jamie Owens finishes up against Jamie Lewis. That's in a couple of matches' time. He will
6.
be the first to finish off the night and then head off. Well, I'd say head off into the Portsmouth sunset. I mean, we're coming up to June, so it might be close to sunrise when it gets to the end of the sessions in a couple of weeks.
140.
So inviting that for John O'Shea. Couldn't quite fill up the treble 20 bed.
Owens is on a finish, but O'Shea will be hoping that he can set up 6 on 205 here to reduce the gap to 3-2. Finds a ton.
161.
Well, this would be some way to finish it off. Bullseye for 161.
136.
And it would have been for back-to-back ton plus checkouts.
105.
Yeah, it was a great effort there, wasn't it, from Jamie Owens? Yeah, and he will be back for 25.
89. Jamie required 25.
Well, to round it off, 7 left. Oh, he's bust it.
No score.
Unbelievable. And it's given
16.
John O'Shea a route back into the contest. His head's in his hands. He can't quite believe it. He smiles in the background, but he won't be chuckling any longer because the Joker finds the double 8, brings it back to 3-2, and the pair can see the funny side of it. Farcical darts, but fun darts to watch nonetheless.
Yeah, it was a real cheeky grin on the face of John O'Shea before he actually stepped up for the hockey for that double 8.
Well, Jamie Owens throws for the match here.
174.
But the advantage of throw has been pretty much cancelled out after the first visitor piece.
40.
And for as much as he might be smiling on the outside, Jamie Owens, he'll be hoping that that's not a slip that proves to be too costly
41.
in a few moments' time.
Yeah, cry of Jamie, man.
66.
Did not make the most of that first treble 20, and there's the frustration you're seeing from Jamie Owens. John O'Shea kicking off this leg, a leg that he has to win if he wants to stay in the match. Kicks off with a 174, then 2 scores of 40 and 41. Jamie desperately trying to make the most of it.
140.
First to a finish, what pressure can John O'Shea apply here?
42.
Well, he's unable to leave
Jamie
himself on a
require
finish, and so Jamie Owens here has got 6 darts at 155 to wrap it up. He may get it done in 3.
117.
And for the second leg in succession, he has threatened a huge finish to win the match.
And he has options with 38. Does he go straight for it?
60.
Can split it.
Jamie McGuire, 38.
Well, he did have problems in the previous leg when it came to setting himself up for a double, but straight into the single 6. And straight into the double 16. And Jamie Owens picks up his first win of the evening. A game which was played in good spirits between himself and John O'Shea. For the Joker, his first defeat of the night. But Jamie Owens on the board. It wasn't the best contest that we've seen this week, but Jamie Owens will be happy to pick the points up nonetheless. Coming up after the break, it's the two Group A players going head to head as Alex Small takes on Graeme Hall.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie McGuire, 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
McGuire,
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the
81.
stage,
Charlie
approaching the
McGuire,
Oki with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
McGuire,
he's gone to
118.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust. And
39.
on that
Charlie
situation there, George
McGuire,
Gave wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia McGuire,
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
McGuire,
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia McGuire, 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go
Couldn't get the
gets
job
it.
done.
Got out the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Skate.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Skate!
Show your appreciation for Sam Spivey!
It's Shane McGuire! Scott Campbell!
Rollison. Expanding.
Oh,
And shot of
magical.
third leg.
Absolutely magical.
Double 12. Yes!
Shot
Get in there, Lee Cox.
The Dutchman is on the horizon.
But Shane McGuire is the Week 4 champion.
You see a massive turn opportunity. Simple, bish, bash, bosh.
Winning chances, and this time it is taken by Sam Spivey, who picks up the Week 3 title.
Look at this. Tops. Oh, wonderful. Scott Campbell with a lethal checkout. John Henderson enjoyed that.
You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now.
Well, this is what we have got to come next week. And what a week we have got. In matter of fact, you look at some of the players that are involved next week here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. You've got winners everywhere you look. In matter of fact, 3 players from the last champions will be playing in this week. It means the return of Spivey, man. Yes, Sam Spivey is back in this building. Kurt Parry, well, he's overdue weekly title. He's not won one yet here. Scott Campbell looking for back-to-back Champions Week. Jemai van den Herrick is going to come here with a big reputation and a really good start to the year. We're going to see Lee Cox back in Group B. Shane McGuire and Carl Wilson will join him. And that will get underway on Monday morning, 9:30 here on Pluto TV. So, to game number 7 of the night. And it is Graeme Hall and Alex Small that go toe-to-toe. These two played in Group A with one another. Who is going to win this particular matchup? In terms of their night so far, Graeme Hall, 2 wins from 2. Unbeaten so far, 4-1 win against Jamie Owens and Jamie Lewis, respectively, to kick off his night. For Alex Small, he lost 4-0 to John O'Shea in his opener and then beat Jamie Owens in a last leg decider. And before the break, we saw Jamie Owens inflict her first defeat of the night upon John O'Shea. And so a win here would see Graeme Hall go top of the table, 3 wins from 3. And in a very good position going into that game
First
against John
leg,
O'Shea.
It's Alec to throw first. Game on.
You kind of get to that point in the evening now that some of these games just feel slightly bigger than what they could have done. And for Alex Small, this does feel like a big match. In terms of their meetings over the week, it is 2-1 in favour of Alex Small, but kind of means nothing. Now, when you go into Group B, you draw a line under it. They both know how to beat one another.
125.
Well, we saw the lineup for next week here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. What do you make of that Week 4 lineup?
Yeah, it's just another really impressive week, isn't it? You see the Mark
140.
McGuire in the mix as well. But yeah, again, another one. I mean, I was so impressed, especially in that international pairs. You've got the likes of Kurt Parry, as you mentioned. They're not yet picked up a weekly title. Really has threatened it, but he was very impressive in his partnership with Richie Burnett in the international pairs, as was Scott Campbell. That 9-dart shootout, you think of all the pressure you have to throw first because they lost the ball, kicks off with a 180, backs it up with a second 180 just to make sure Scotland get through.
82.
Yeah, Shane McGuire, the reigning WDF world champion, will be back in the building, looking to make it through to back-to-back Champions Weeks. In fact, there's 3 players looking to make it through to back-to-back Champions Weeks. Sam Spivey as well. 74 here for Alex Small to take the opening leg, double top.
Game shot
Oh, take it with conviction, 1-0.
Yeah, opening leg
Second
completed
leg, it's Graeme
in 15 darts for Alex Small.
Game on.
A bish bash bosh finish for the wild card. In fact, we've got a group where we've got the wild card and the Joker.
47.
Yeah, just missing a few suits from a full deck, but yeah, it's strange, isn't it? I mean, we quite often, we talked about it earlier about, you know, the fact that we had the Riddler playing this afternoon. You've got the Joker, again, that could be used in that sense. But your favourite coming back next week in, I can't say it, Spivey Man, as you've kind of dubbed him. I still think Poison Spivey is so much better, but, you know, I think I think you shout louder than me, Henry.
I don't shout.
60.
Yeah, certainly some interesting combinations next week.
125. Graeme, you require 124.
1-2-4 for Graeme Hall to level this game up at one apiece. Not to be this time,
92.
but he will be back for 32.
47. Graeme, you require 32. Game shot on the second
Double
leg.
16
Graeme
is
Hall.
fouled, and Graeme Hall is back level at one apiece.
Yeah, so far, a really
Third
good
leg,
encounter
it's Alex
between
to
the
throw
pair.
first.
13 dart response
Game
from Graeme Hall.
139. One hundred.
Yeah, 180 thrown there that you could have probably got on the head of a pin. And that's what you've come to expect. But what I think's been ever so slightly lacking from Alec tonight is just the consistency at that kind of level. I know you're not going to hit 180s every single time, but just dropped off in the second leg against the throw. But wow, what a way to bounce back again.
56.
I think we both had that same glance, didn't we? As soon as that first start went in, there was an expectation for all three to hit the treble bed. And he's in a position here to move 2-1 up. But Graeme Hall, if he can find another treble, will make the end of this leg rather
100.
interesting.
Alec,
Does
you
lead
require
himself at the finish, but it's
126.
advantage small to open up a 2-1 lead in this match. Bullseye it is.
101.
Just above. The line was
Graeme, you require
perfect.
161.
Just pitched a little bit too far over the top.
Treble 17. I would have left the ball.
137.
Almost a
Alec,
kind
you
of throwaway
require
last start,
25.
finds the target. So, bit of pressure on this double 8 here.
No score. Graeme, you require 24.
Yeah, real over adjustment there from small. Pulls it into the big 16. And that last visit, the last couple of visits really from Graeme Hall. Now looking at double 6.
Game shot on the
There's
third
the breaker
leg.
throw he's
Graeme
looking
Hall.
for.
Well, what a performance this is so far from Graeme Hall. Average just
Fourth
under
lag, it's Graeme
105,
to throw
2 from
first.
3 on his doubles,
Game
14
on.
darter there, 13 darter the leg before. And these are the types of performances that
81.
I suppose every now and then you kind of expect from Graeme Hall. We know how high a level he's got, and every now and again
60.
you just feel like he's got this extra gear which he can really go through when it matters.
It's something we've talked about because we've had the likes of players that
100.
have still outwardly spoken about the fact that they want to go back on the tour, the likes of, that have dropped off. So the likes of like a Ted Evans, and you put Graeme in with that kind of category that he's come away from the tour
100.
and he wants to get himself back into that position once again. And I do wonder sometimes if it comes with just that added weight of pressure because, you have played alongside the top players at the highest kind of level in the world. But I think for Graeme, he's kind of just relishing the
100.
opportunity to just really kind of hone the talent, hone the skill.
We were saying earlier on this week that the biggest thing that comes from it
59.
as well is learning to love the game again, because it's very easy when you're in that rigmarole of playing Pro Tour darts week in, week out, and you're constantly finding yourself on the wrong end of scorelines in games where you're probably playing well in. It knocks the confidence a little bit, and in turn it
100.
knocks that love and desire for the game a little bit. And we've seen it from
25.
Bradley Brooks is
Graeme,
probably
you
the best
require
example. It's a player that
120.
came here really knocked in terms of confidence and then came here, had a good year here, and look what it's led to in his case.
$60.
And everybody that's seen Graeme up close or
39. Graeme, you require
watched
60.
him microscopically knows how good a talent he is. And he is the type of player that maybe just with a little bit more experience when he is back on tour has got the potential to stay on tour. But sometimes you need those knockbacks
20.
to lead the way for the get-backs.
Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Because obviously once you get that Pro Tour, then you don't have the other avenues that certain players have. So you can't play here, for example, at the Modus Super
48.
Series. You can't
Graeme, you
play
require
in certain
40.
kind of ranked WDF tournaments. So it kind of cuts off your ability to keep playing in a competitive arena. And I think sometimes that is problematic because if you look at the record of the likes of, say, Graeme Hall, who
It's on the 4th leg.
does
Graeme
pin
Hall.
double 10 to go one leg away from winning. You know, he on, I'd say, half of the
flag,
matches
it's
he's
Alex
played
Everett
in
first.
over the last couple of
Game
years
on.
when he had a tour card, they're first round exits. So you're only playing that one competitive game a day. And you kind of just
140.
lose the edge and the ability to win. It becomes very difficult. And I've heard that from a lot of different players who've really struggled to kind of get that match sharpness.
And of course, if you're not winning that first game, you're not
96.
picking up any prize money either, which also has a knock-on effect or two.
Yeah, and that's been a bit of a talking point. It's been a
140.
talking point for quite some time, but it's just popped back up again, hasn't it? As a point that, you know, some players think they should, some players think that you should get a win before you actually get anything.
Yeah, certainly a topic
55.
that's up for debate and conversation. And I think like anything really now, the way we spoke about it earlier on, the way the sport's been taken more
50,
seriously, the way that there's more eyes on the sport, topics like that are going to be spoken about in ways that perhaps it wasn't 10, 15 years ago.
No, and I think, you know, for some players as well, you have to realise that,
78.
you know, it
Alec,
wasn't
you
that long
require
ago when
164.
they were actually having to pay for the privilege, even though they had a tour card, to enter the tournaments. That was something that was scrapped
84.
recently. Once you got your tour card, now you don't actually have to pay to enter those tournaments. So there have been moves in that kind of direction to help players. But, you know, as with anything, especially now they've moved midweek, it has proven difficult for those players that are actually working in an alternative job as well.
140. Alec, you require 80.
It just goes to prove the sacrifice that players make, because Small looks at double 10 to bring it back to 3-2.
70.
Well, this could be curtains, and this has been a solid display from
132.
Graeme Hall, average in excess of 94, the doubling decent 3 from 7. And if he finds this 1-3-2, he could finish with a flourish, but it's not to be on this occasion.
No champagne celebrations yet for Graeme Hall.
91. Alec, you require 10.
They've been put on ice for now. And they've been
Shot on
put
the
further
fifth
on
leg,
ice because Alex
Small.
Small's found the double 5 to bring it back to 3-2. And Graeme Hall here has the darts to
6th flag.
see
It's
this
Graeme to
match
throw
through.
first. Game on.
An inquisitive look on the face of the Welshman, whose biggest title to date was that Champion of Champions victory, which he
139.
had in 2022 at the depot in Cardiff.
41.
Not literally in a depot, but the venue is called the Depot.
And it's in Cardiff.
And it's in Cardiff, yes.
Yeah, but that's a really brutal kind of format, isn't it? I think it's just the best of 3 throughout the tournament. I think it might extend was it?
99.
The whole way through, yeah. So whoever wins that, you've just got to be on point from the very first start.
45.
Basically like the old News of the World tournament. And the finals of those competitions, they're played on a big stage, and a lot of the players that play in the early stages that get knocked out, they tend to actually stay
81.
and watch the finals of that particular event. So it would have had all the razzmatazz for Alec, and that's actually how he gets qualification here in the
81.
first place, because it was actually one of the first qualifying tournaments at Ye Olde Lively League. But because he won it when he won it, his first appearance transpired to be in this building.
55.
Yeah, best of 3 race to 2. I imagine that the walk-on could end up being longer than the time you actually spend on stage.
For one or two people, it
55.
definitely would be.
I just think about how fast Alex
127.
throws, you know.
Well, plenty of time here to wrap it up for Graeme Hall. May only need the 3. He's going to come back. Well, he's actually gone for it.
102.
No, I thought he was going to set up there, but
I think he's acknowledged the fact that he has the time, and he's obviously feeling good up on the
65.
hockey.
Graeme, you require 25.
and so he should. Been a really good display. It's been rock solid throughout. And the finishing touches have been applied. And that is a 3rd consecutive win for Graeme Hall. And all of a sudden, he's beginning to establish himself as an authoritative figure at the top of the group. And he has temporarily a 4-point gap from those in 4th and 5th position, which even at this stage of the group could be a hefty advantage. Coming up after the break, it's the 2 Jamies, Owens and Lewis. Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yes.
Let's do it then.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Lewandowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy time. So receive the trophy. £25,000. The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And the new Modus Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor?
One more time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McGuire.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Nuke, Luke Littler!
What on the
It's a great stage to play on. I love coming to the Super Series and playing, especially doing it in front of the crowd. can't fault it. I've absolutely loved it, and it's been a great experience.
Modus Super Series Women's Week Champion.
To become the first ever female player to hit a 10.5 9-top finish. It's history for Paul Breeze.
Kirsty Vinacarna.
The Lancashire Road, Lisa Aston.
Our next specials week is Women's Week 4 here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. It's going to take place at the end of June. The finals night on the Saturday, the 28th of June. And if you scan that QR code, it will take you to the booking page specifically for that night. The doors open from 6:30. The action gets underway from 7:30. We will announce the lineup in due course, and who knows, if you're lucky enough, you may also see Laura Turner do some more dancing on the stage. Into game 8 of our session here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, and it is a battle of the two Jamies as Lewis and Owens go head to head here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Now these two, well, so far tonight, it's been a bit of an up and down evening. Jamie winning just the one game tonight. Jamie Lewis looking to pick up his first win despite averaging in excess of 19 both of his matches so far. And you get the sense that at some point, if Jamie Lewis carries on playing the way he does, things should change for him in terms of his fortunes.
Yeah, totally agree, and I just think for Jamie, he's just been a bit unfortunate. He's come up against a couple of players in John O'Shea and then
82.
Graeme Hall, where when he did miss, it was all about the timing. That was the big issue, especially the game where he went 4-1 down to Graeme Hall. Missed one dart at 107, and then there was this key moment in the match where he bust 81. Had to go for it again, just avoided a chance to Graeme Hall, and his finishing was really on point. He had 108, he had, I think it was a 96 as well in there as well, and it just cost Lewis in the end.
40.
Yeah, Women's Week 4 back in the diary. I will apologise, Laura. Every single time that a promo is made for that particular week, I think you're just going to have to accept that dancing's always going to make the VT package now.
I don't think it has to. I mean, surely there were moments. I mean, I think I had a double finish on one of them, but instead it's just the sheer delight and excitement that I actually got a win over. Actually, it was my close friend and my roommate in Lorraine Winstanley that kind of put me through to the final. What can I say? It's a natural reaction for me. And it was terrible dancing. I can't even call it dancing. It was kind of like jumping around on the spot.
140. Jamie require 154.
Well, Jamie Lewis has left himself on 41 after 12, threatening the break. But is it going to be academic? Because Jamie Owens here is looking at tops. And you know what? That would have been so synonymous with Jamie Lewis's night if that went.
Yeah, 9 leaves him double 16. That's way off the mark, but leaves him plenty of space.
Jamie require 40.
And as you say, this is just on point with what's happened with Jamie Lewis. If this goes for Owens, which it does,
Jamie Owens
very much kind of resonates with what I said before, that it's just that missed timing on the outer ring. It's just proven really costly.
Game on. 93.
The one thing I will say about Jamie Lewis, although he's been on the end of 2 really heavy defeats, he's still looking exactly the same as how he started off the evening.
100.
Probably does go back to the belief that we've seen the big scores, we've seen the averages, and it's taken some big finishes to dispatch of him in the manner that it's been done. if he keeps going the way he's going, then ultimately you do feel the results will start
44.
going his way.
And I think it's also important to note as well with Jamie Lewis. Yes, of course, he's in this to win this. Of course he is. But there's also probably another part of Jamie's mind where results
11.
are almost a little bit irrelevant if he can see progress trending in the right direction again. I suppose to a certain extent, the results are almost a secondary outcome if the primary
100.
task of restructuring his game is being achieved.
$119.
We mentioned it before his game against John O'Shea. Jamie Owens lost his first 2 matches, but if he could win his last 2, I think he'd snap your hand off for it. But he's going to be made to work hard for this one because Jamie Lewis, he's scoring like a dream at times.
126. Jamie require 84.
But it's this part of the leg that causes the problems.
Yeah, just taking a look, just checking if Owens is on a finish, which he is. So 1 dart at the ball.
53. Jamie require 145.
We have seen a 145 tonight. That came by way of Graham Hall, and Jamie Owens not adding to that.
57. Jamie require
Well, Jamie Owens had the
31.
best view of anyone to that 145 finish of Graeme. Jamie here looking at double 8. Jamie
it's on
Lewis,
the
that is,
second
having a
leg.
look at
Jamie
double
Lewis.
8 to level up at 1 apiece.
I feel like it should be a rule that when you know when
Third
the
leg,
players are
it's
booked, they
Jamie
can't have the
Owens
same
to throw
first name.
first. Game
It's
on.
like the Luke and Luke thing, isn't it, at the PDC? Who's going to win the match? Well, I think Luke might. Yeah. I mean, it's a nice way to sit on a fence, I guess.
Well, wait till Luke Woodhouse makes the semi-finals of the World
96.
Championship. You could have Luke Humphries, Luke Woodhouse and Luke Littler. And Lucas Vesklowski.
134.
Could have Martin Luke Mann. Basically, there's a
90.
lot of Lukes in this game. And that includes sponsors as well.
96. $145.
Well, excellent setup there to leave Jamie Owens on the big fish.
Yeah, but going to be under some pressure as a second maximum for Jamie Lewis.
Jamie require 170.
Well, we know he likes this, but he won't like that and doesn't like the lie. He has to switch.
96. Jamie require 91.
Was looking at double. Is it going to go on this
59.
occasion? Has left
Jamie
himself on
requires
32 if
74.
Owens cannot convert the 74. He's going to get 1 dart, a double top.
54.
It's not got,
Jamie
and so
requires
Lewis
32.
has got a break opportunity here.
And you kind of felt like it may have been inevitable that went for
shot, the
Owens
third
because of the
leg.
way that
Jamie
Lewis's
Lewis.
night has gone. But it is Lewis that goes 2-1 up.
Fourth flag. It's Jamie Lewis to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, and as we've crept into just over the midnight hour,
57.
I feel it's almost obligatory that I have to mention it is my mum's birthday. So happy birthday, Mum. And just noticed that she does share it with a couple of Super Series players. Adam Lipscomb
108.
being one of them.
And also happy birthday to Tommy Lishman, a man who's hit a 9 darter on this particular stage.
96.
Adam Lipscomb's been involved in a 9 darter.
100.
Perhaps should be said he was on the receiving end of the most famous to be hit in this building.
Yeah, first live televised 9 darter from a woman, Fallon Sherrick.
134. 134.
Oh, this is a superb match. Game of the night so far. Both players averaging high 90s. Owens leaving 87 after just 9 darts.
82. Jamie
And he's on the cusp here,
87.
getting the break back and leveling this game back up at 2-2.
Yeah, good first. Leaves double 18. Right on the wire. And
51.
you almost had the feeling, just the angle of that may
Jamie
have just been a
Maguire,
little bit too close.
132.
Now, Jamie Lewis has the opportunity to punish treble 19.
34. Jamie required
Slightly
36.
confused about the route that Jamie was taking because he had 107 left after that first start. So traditionally it would have been
Game shot on the fourth flag.
treble 19,
Jamie
which would have
Owens.
left ball. So not quite sure what was happening there.
Fifth flag. It's Jamie to throw first. Game on.
And I think even Jamie Owens was a little bit perplexed by that. But it's a break back for the man from Stockton. Level we are at 2-2.
140.
I suppose it's just one of the other areas as well. If you've not been
96.
playing as much and you're not as match sharp, that maybe the odd mathematical moment here and there can come into play, because I suppose the brain won't be as sharp as it was before when it comes to the numerical side of
140.
things.
Yeah, perhaps to be fair, he thought it was actually in the ball. And that was another attempt for it. But yeah, just I think when you have an expectation of where someone's going to go, it kind of takes you a bit by surprise when they don't.
Is Jamie Owens beginning to save his best performance for last here, because
105.
his average is in excess of 99 despite missing 5 darts at a double, and he's very much favourite now to open up a 3-2 lead in this contest. And Jamie Lewis once again is averaging in excess of 90, 94 and change his average, and he could find himself within a leg of a third consecutive defeat this evening.
56.
85 left. Treble 15.
139.
Or treble 19
Jamie
would be the
requires
intended
60.
target.
Did not like that first start, and in particular, judging by the way that he's wiping his
It's on the
hand on his
fifth leg.
shirt, he
Jamie Owens.
wasn't happy the way it was released, but he'd be more than happy with that tops. 3-2, Jamie Owens leads Jamie Lewis.
Sixth flag. It's Jamie Lewis.
And
to
it's
throw
one of them
first.
scenarios for Jamie
Game on.
Lewis where he's averaging in excess of 90 in every game tonight, and he's not picked up a point. But if he was playing in Group C this afternoon and he played like this,
100.
he'd be walking away with 10.
Yeah, standard has been really very good from Jamie Lewis. It's just, as we've said,
95.
few lapses of concentration or few just missed darts at doubles at the wrong time, and his opponents have just been able to capitalise.
60.
Certainly a lot to like, and I just wonder,
121.
and it's easy said than done because there's a finite amount of spots, but I just wonder whether he'd be a player that would benefit from playing a full week, playing a Group A and playing 5 days.
96. 108.
He's getting no benefits here, is he? Jamie Owens of that max leaves himself on 105 to win it.
Yeah, back comes Jamie Lewis.
108.
Anything you can do? Oh, match here is the third max for Lewis.
55 left. Tops of the match.
65.
And tops to round off what had
Jamie
been a
requires
superb
65.
performance. So Jamie Lewis then 65 to take us all the way, averaging here in excess of 98.
Yeah, it's one dart, has to move over, trying to find a route through to the ball.
40.
Yeah, not a
Jamie
great deal of
requires
distance away.
40.
Well, it's been a chastening night so far for Jamie Lewis. And those woes will continue, but for Jamie Owens, he finishes off his evening with his best performance. An average of 98.8, a really good display, playing the type of darts which has seen him make multiple Saturday nights here in the past. Jamie Lewis, again, averaging in excess of 90, has not won a game on this Thursday evening. Coming up after the break, Graeme Hall's looking to win every game that he's played tonight. He takes on John O'Shea.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls of this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
hockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think he's
required
gone to
118.
bust it, maybe. The first title he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George Scaife wasn't even able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
required
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go
Couldn't get the job
it.
done.
Got out the match. And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Scaife.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Scaife.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. Plenty coming up after we're done this evening. Well, I suppose it's Premier League finals night, so we better give Glenn Durrant, the former Premier League champion, the opportunity to talk about that success, because he's never actually spoken about it before. So it's only fair we let him have his one and only opportunity to talk about that success. Right, into tomorrow, and we've got a Tuxen talk with Jimmy Van Schie, all about his record-breaking 2024. The live darts is back from 1 o'clock tomorrow. Johnny Haynes is top of the table. He's looking to secure his passage through to finals night, which takes place on Saturday evening from 7:30 p.m. Who is going to join Jess Smith and Scott Taylor into what already looks like a stacked Champions Week field. Right. Our penultimate game of the evening is a meeting between Graeme Hall and John O'Shea. Before the break, we saw Jamie Owens get the better of Jamie Lewis by 4-2 in a high-quality affair. Graeme Hall here, though, is looking to complete the card. Victory here, 4 wins from 4, and set up very nicely ahead of Friday's play. As for John O'Shea, he won his first 2 games about dropping a leg. Lost his last one, though, to Jamie Owens by 4-2. What are we going to see from this one? Game number 9 of the evening on what has been, has to be said, a very quick fire Thursday evening's worth of darts.
First
and
leg,
for
it's
Graeme,
Graeme to throw first.
wins this one, 4 from 4.
Game on.
Job done.
Yeah, obviously that will be the goal. That'll be the objective. And John O'Shea standing in his way. And for John O'Shea, I think because of the way that he started off the evening, if he was to lose this match, and has already, as mentioned, lost the previous one, I think he'll be disappointed by the outcome because it was such a solid start. It looked like it was going to be between him and Graeme Hall as to who was going to go through the card potentially.
Well, Graeme Hall has got that opportunity. Irrespective, really, of what happens here, he's going to be in a strong position come what may tomorrow. Jamie Lewis and Alex Small play the final game of the group. I think realistically, he would hope that Jamie Lewis wins that one because it would mean that whatever happens in this game, he'll have a 4-point buffer going into tomorrow for a 4th spot. If he wins this one, he'll have a guaranteed 6-point buffer if Jamie was to go on and win that particular contest. Come what may, he's going to be in a very strong position, is Graeme. But for John O'Shea, the way that the night started, if he
99
came out of only 4 points, if Jamie Owens would have snatched a hand off for those 4 points, John O'Shea would be on the other side of the coin thinking it should have been perhaps a little bit more.
58.
And I think more than anything for John O'Shea, kind of really steady start, 85 average, 4 out of 10 on the outer ring, then upped it just under 100 average for the 4-0 victory over Jamie Lewis. But then when he took on Jamie Owens, it was a 4-2 defeat, but the average around about the 78.5 mark and 2 from 15 on the doubles. And I think that would be possibly what is more disappointing because it's just that lack of consistency throughout all matches.
57.
So this for a 1-0 lead for Graeme Hall. Double top. 14 darter, kind of in keeping with what he's been doing all night long.
Second leg, it's John to throw first. Game on. $60.
Well, that first start's a beautiful guide for Graeme. Unable to follow it there. Now, I actually had a
140.
a text message. I do enjoy it when we get communications from friends of ours that are tuning in. And I want to say a very good evening and a very warm hello to our
100.
good pal Marco Meyer.
Yeah, hello, Marco.
Yeah, that's game shut.
$95.
One of the best referees in the world. He actually, the reason he sent me a message, he's watching tonight and he's just seen a picture of that coming up graphic that we showed. And basically, he was in one of the pictures and he said, "What a referee on the bottom left." Didn't know Charlie Corsafine was in that photo.
140.
Of course, Marco's refereed on this stage before.
$139. Graeme, you require 126.
Yeah, good visit there from John O'Shea, but it's Graeme Hall with a chance here. And he has found a couple of ton finishes, and that's the perfect start. Perfect second, so double 6 for a 1-2-6, and wow, inside by the smallest of margins.
Requires 62.
But credit here to John O'Shea, he's made sizable chase in this leg, despite the scoring prowess of his opponent. He's pinched it. 14 darter, cancelled out by another 14 darter. High quality contest of 11 at 1 apiece.
It's Graeme to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, the Joker not messing around, but nor is Graeme Hall. And okay, we're only in the third leg, but average-wise, Graeme Hall, 116.9, plays 102.
60.
We have seen a massive average so far this series. David Evans averaged in excess of 120. A 4-0 win against Mervyn King, 120.24, which is the joint second highest average we've ever seen here. That alongside
140.
Another 4-0 win, that by Connor Scott against Stephen Jameson back in July last year. The record still 122.69 by Daryl Pilgrim against Denny Aldercoulter.
80.
And David in that game actually missed a dart to break that particular record. Such was the performance that he put in.
140.
Well, it's John O'Shea that's down to a finish first after 9. Graeme Hall, if he does get the opportunity to come back, will be on something better.
97. John, you require 161.
So Hall back for 90.
59. Graeme, you require 90.
Well, if he gets this into it, could be the third consecutive 14-dart leg at the beginning of this match.
Well, it's on for 2 for another 14, and it is
On the third leg.
another 14-dart leg. Unbelievably, though, that 14-dart leg there has brought down the average of Graeme Hall.
You know you're playing well when you're winning a leg, averaging 107, and it brings it down. Those are the averages as we enter the fourth leg. 112.28 for Graeme Hall, just over the ton mark for John O'Shea.
Yeah, no signs of let up here from Graeme Hall, just throwing absolutely everything at John O'Shea.
Well, he threatened something similar to this in his game against Alex Small in his previous game. Average 91.13, but there was a point where it looked like he was about to really go through the gears. And I'll tell you what's really impressive about this performance as well. Is there's not been a 180 in this game, yet they're both playing and averaging to the high extremities in which they are.
60.
Needs a treble if he is going to leave a finish. Yeah, just made a bit of mess of it there.
$139.
Well, one thing's guaranteed in this leg. No 14-darter.
No, but will we see another ton plus checkout? It's on for John O'Shea. Tops for a 120, but also for parity in this match, and just goes low the target.
Graeme, you require 118.
O'Shea's missed a dart to level this game up. Can Graeme Hall pin the 118 to establish a two-leg gap? He then have the darts to the next to complete the card for the night. Has to try and find a way above. Does so. And he's going to get a look at double 19. And it wasn't too far away. O'Shea survives the scare. He's back for 3 more double 10 to level up.
Yeah, let off, but John O'Shea still needs to pin double 10 to make it 2-all. And that's a
It's on
great
the
second
fourth
dart.
flag.
Uses that
John
first one
O'Shea.
as a guide. And I think for John O'Shea, when there was
Fifth
38
flag,
left
it's
there
Graeme
for
to the
Graeme Hall, he was
first.
looking at the floor. He
Game
couldn't
on.
bring himself to watch. I think feels like it. Graeme Hall is not missing much, but that was an opportune moment, and John O'Shea gladly accepted.
Well, this the scoring power pack in this game. And I suppose the thing that stands out is just the sheer scale of one treble scores for Graeme Hall.
100.
Constantly, pretty much every single visit is finding something big.
Yeah, that's it. 180s, they don't win you games. And actually looking at the doubling stats as well, both players 2 from 4, 50%. And that's
55.
pretty much around where Graeme Hall has been throughout the course of the evening. He's 12 from 24 overall up to this match.
120.
Well, an unkind ricochet there for John O'Shea, rejecting that dart out the board. How costly are those dropped 60 points going to be in the end game in this leg? Potentially very costly.
140.
And can he fill it up this time?
140.
Not far off, but all 3 darts count.
Absolutely excellent. Absolutely
Johnny
perfect.
Require,
In fact, that's the
141.
first perfect visit that we've seen in the match. O'Shea's not going to find the 141. Hall's left tops after 12 to move 3-2 to the good. And his
45.
average still way in
Graeme
excess
Require,
of 109.
One more dart in hand for double 10, and it
It's
is
on the fifth
found.
flag.
And a
Graeme
big sigh of relief there from Graeme Hall, who goes within one of the match.
6th flag. It's John to the
14,
first.
14,
Game on.
15. The winning legs of Graeme Hall. He's 3-2 to the good, averaging 106.29 in this contest. And
95.
John O'Shea's throwing it right back at him, averaging just under the 98 mark. But the power scoring. I know he's playing the joker, but the 140 hitting's been a bit of a joke from him.
Yeah, I think it's been a bit of a joke from both. It's 6 for Graeme Hall, 5 for John O'Shea in this match.
140.
Okay, let's make that 6 apiece.
I don't know what the record is for most 140s combined in a game. In fact, actually, this has broken the record. Actually, just having a little glance up at the stats screen that I have. Yeah, the record's 11. It was in a game between a match involving Reece Colley and a match involving Andreas Harrison and Connor Scutt. And also another game between Gilbert van der Meyen and Mark Dovbridge.
58.
So that's the record that's been broken in this particular encounter.
$138.
Another 2 treble visit for Graeme Hall. Just puts a bit of pressure on this throw. 2 well thrown darts,
6.
3 very well thrown darts by John O'Shea, but
164.
cannot locate the treble 20.
164 to finish off what has been a real classic encounter between this pair. One of the best games we've seen so far in Series 11 here. Now the Modus
64.
Super Series. It's a
Johnny
game that
Require, 148.
Graeme Hall could potentially be 2 darts away from winning unless John O'Shea had an act of intervention there.
140. Graeme, you require 100.
Yeah, another 140 leaves O'Shea on 8, but it's Hall stepping up to the oche. 100 points between him and a 4-2 victory.
Tops, unable to get, and so O'Shea's going to come back double 4 to
35.
take us the distance.
8. Game shot on
Yeah,
the
it
stick
felt
flag.
inevitable,
John O'Shea.
didn't it? It's 3 apiece between Hall and O'Shea. It's been an exceptional match so far. Averages all still
Seventh and
teetering
final
around
leg.
that
It's
ton
Graeme
plus
to the
mark for both
first.
players.
Game on.
$102.92, the Graham Hall average.
140.
That is the 14th 140 we've seen in this match.
$100. $108.
Well, that is the first 180 of the game, incredibly.
Yeah, and what a time for Graham Hall to find the 180. Firmly in the driving seat here and looking likely to go through the card. Yeah, don't put it up this time, Graham.
Well, what a last leg this has
105.
been. A fitting cap of what has been a superb display. 106.63 the average.
45.
A
Graeme, you
plethora of
require
140s.
76.
And now an opportunity to win this match. And plenty of time on his side to round this game off. Double 8.
Game
Well,
shot.
Graham
and the
Hall is
match.
top of the
Graham
class
Hall.
with a top-class performance. Saving his best till last, an average of 105.68. He has won all 4 of his games on Thursday evening, and he is top of Group B, and he is top of Group B by a bit of a hefty margin. 105.68 the average in the end. 4 for 9 on his doubles. A superb performance from Graham Hall. We'll hear from him in a couple of minutes' time, and then we'll kick off our final game of the night between Jamie Lewis and Alex Moore. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where we're joined alongside Graeme Hall, who's won 4 out of 4 tonight in this Group B. And it's fair to say as well, you saved your very best for last there. 105, the average in that game against John O'Shea. But overall, you must be really pleased with the way tonight's gone.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a bit lucky in occasions, like against Jamie and things like that. My finishing bailed me out a bit there, but yeah, definitely performed it that last game when I needed to, and to get the 4, yeah, chuffed.
It just felt like as the night went along, you just looked more at ease, you looked more at home on the stage.
Yeah, I think as soon as I got the second win, I thought, yeah, stand myself a good chance now, and like you say, just relaxed after that, and yeah, it all worked out.
I know Group A didn't go to plan in terms of winning the group, but there must have been enough signs of encouragement in terms of the performances that you put in, particularly on Monday and Tuesday, that wherever you pitted yourself on Thursday and Friday, that you'd feel like you stand every single chance of getting through.
Yeah, definitely. I left myself a little bit too much to do, I think, for the first 3 days. I needed 5 wins, and that would have given me a chance, but Alec played well to beat me in that game. But yeah, on to today and tomorrow, and that's the main thing, get to Saturday.
Absolutely. I mean, in terms of your game overall, where would you say it's at this present moment in time? Because it feels like we're beginning to see here the Graeme Hall that we saw in that previous studio in Southampton 3 years ago, that was primed and ready to compete with the big boys on tour. Yeah,
I think my game's in a good place. I know I slip up occasionally. Usually it's doubles and that lets me down, but I know the game's there. I know on my day I'm capable of beating anybody. So yeah.
In terms of tomorrow night, then obviously you've got a bit of a cushion, but you're not the kind of guy that wants to ease up off the pedal, do you?
No, definitely not. I still want to go in tomorrow, and I want to win all my games again and top the group. I don't want to be coming second in the group again. I just want to get the job done tomorrow in the first couple of games, and yeah.
And then hopefully another Saturday night for yourself. I mean, every single time you played, you've got through to the Saturday night setup, and I suppose when you've got a 100% record, a bit like that, you want to keep them going, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. But I think I need to start performing a little bit more on the Saturday night, and hopefully I can relax this time and produce my best art.
Well, many congratulations on tonight, Graeme. Thank you for popping up and having a chat with us. One final game to go this evening. It's a meeting between Alex Small and Jamie Lewis, and I'm going to make the short little trip over to the commentary box to join Laura Turner.
Lovely.
Yeah, thank you very much, Henry. Yeah, great to hear from our table topper, Graeme Hall. He will be going into tomorrow on the full 8 points. We already know John O'Shea and Jamie Owens, they finished their action this evening. They'll both finish on 4 in second and third, respectively. And then it comes down to these two. Alex Small on 2 points, got the 1 solitary win. Jamie Lewis, not got a point to his name, but has put in some mammoth performances this evening. For Alex Small,
first leg, it's
just
Jamie
because of the leg difference,
first.
even if he does get a win here, yep, we'll put him on to, it will put him up to 4 points, equal with Jamie Owens and John O'Shea. But the leg difference will still mean he'll stay in 4th place. And for Jamie Lewis,
55.
Feels like an all-important opportunity here just to try and chalk up a win.
81.
Yeah, very pleased to say that Henry has hot-footed it back to the commentary box from the studio. And I was just saying, it was really good to hear from Graeme Hall, and obviously got that confidence at the moment in the way he's playing, and understandably so, because that last one especially, you know, 96. Best performance of the evening, saving his best till the very last.
You sure you're pleased?
I saw you sat there smiling. I thought, what's he going to say? I thought you'd done something to start with.
But I totally agree with everything you said. He's a player that's certainly looking to get his game back in the right place. It looks like he's definitely moving in the right direction once again.
84.
And we kind of spoke about it earlier on in the evening that tour life, particularly if it doesn't go to plan, it can hit home, and it can hit home hard. And he's spoken very openly about the fact that maybe taking one step back will help him to take a couple forward in the future. And I suppose we're seeing something similar with Jamie Lewis, who is taking a bit of time back from the top end of the sport, coming back here and seeing whether things correlate for him. Well, in terms of the way he's played tonight, there's not really too much we can criticise apart from a few missed darts and a double here and there. He's averaged in excess of 90 in every single game he's played, but yet it's the only player that hasn't picked up a point so far.
And it's moments like these misses, and Alex Small on this occasion not able to
43.
capitalise.
Jamie required 10.
And so 2 5s for 1-0.
One dart for 2 2s and goes inside. So it's the madhouse for
72.
Jamie Lewis. And Alex Small here now looking at 72 to take an early break. I can't find the single 20.
32. Jamie required 2.
I feel that should be a good marker, but that's way off the
No
target.
score. Alec, you require 40. Game shot on the first leg.
Tops
Alex
comfortably
Small.
pinned in the end there by Alex Small. Breaks the Lewis throw early doors. But yeah,
Second
going back
leg,
to
it's
what you were
Alec to go
saying there,
first. Game
with regards to the averages that we've seen so far from Lewis.
108.
4-0 defeat at the hands of John O'Shea with a 91. A 4-1 defeat by Graeme Hall with a 97. And then it was a 96 and a half in a 4-2 defeat against Jamie Owens. So as you say, that scoring phase hasn't been the issue. It's just when he's had the opportunity for a dart at a double, just hasn't been able to
45.
convert. And we've just seen exactly the same here against Alex Small.
I think the one that will hurt him more than anything else is the game against Graeme Hall. 1 from 7 on the outer ring, despite averaging 97.7, as you mentioned, in that
55.
particular game. And that's ultimately where it's gone wrong. But there is perhaps an irony here, is he could put in his worst performance of the night and it
46.
be the one that gets him the only victory.
Yeah, there's that first start, all inviting for Jamie Lewis.
125.
And it's almost one of them where you know you're playing well and everyone else is just hitting
60.
everything against you. You almost have to find a way of laughing it off because you know it's not down to too much by way of your own performance. You know you're not too far off. It's just that key moment here and there has just not gone for him tonight.
Alec, you require 170.
No big fish for Small.
58.
That
Jamie
180
require
again leaves
81.
Lewis on an attainable 2-dart checkout. Double 12.
57.
But that's the
Alec, you
story of the
require
night. 9 missed
112.
starts at a double in the opening couple of legs of this contest. And he's going to get 3 more at double 12.
55. Jamie, you require 24.
Yeah, not been punished, so more chances here. Now for double 6,
Yeah,
and double
on the
6 does
second
go,
leg,
and we
Jamie
do
Lewis.
have parity at 1 apiece.
So
Third
how
leg,
many
it's
times
Jamie to
tonight
go
has
first.
Jamie Lewis left himself on things like 81 after 9 or 12 darts? He's always there or thereabouts in legs, but if he can tomorrow find a way of switching his finishing around,
100.
he is going to tie everybody else in this group into all sorts of knots.
140.
And that is sometimes the beauty of Group B. Although there's less players, so less matches and less opportunity, there are 3 that go through from the 5. So even if you can kind of just chalk up that 1 win, just make sure you've got a couple of points going into the next day, then ultimately you can still turn things around.
85.
The big problem he's got, though, is the legs difference, isn't it? Before this game started, -9 in that particular column. 9 off for Jamie Owens, who occupies the
60.
final qualification spot. And that will be irrespective of what happens in this game, because even a win for Alex Small, because he was 5 adrift of
134.
Owens in terms of legs difference before this one got underway, cannot overtake. So the top 3 will definitely be Hall, O'Shea and Owens, regardless of the end result of this particular match.
140. Alec, you
But if
require
it is to
142.
be Jamie Lewis that wins this one, then behind Graeme Hall, everybody will be just
80.
a couple
Check
of points
90.
off one another.
Jamie, you require 101.
And of course, this will be the first game of tomorrow evening session from 10 o'clock here
69.
on Pluto
Alec, you
TV.
require 52. Game shot on the third
No
leg.
hesitation there from Alex Small. Not necessarily sure the treble was the intended
Full flag,
target,
it's Alec
but
to
the
the
outcome is
first.
what he wanted.
Game on. 61.
Well, he kicked off the night with a heavy defeat to John O'Shea. Can he finish the night with a win against his fellow compatriot Jamie Lewis?
140. $123.
Yeah, that awkward low dart. It's a great adjustment from Lewis. And backs it up with another. Yeah, with Lewis, you tend to find that when he gets one
140
in the intended target in the treble bed, he can really follow them in.
$93.
Yeah, options here on the 134.
135. Jamie, you require 134.
And again, great setup play from Alex Small. Leaves him on a 2-dart checkout.
He's going to get a look at it because Lewis was
Alec,
unable to
42.
fetch the 134. Double 16 opens up a 3-1 lead.
Alex Small.
Back-to-back 14 dart legs for Alex Small to move 3-1 to the good against Jamie Lewis,
Fifth
who
flag, it's Jamie to throw first. Game on.
has the look of a man who's dropped a £10 note and has picked up a 10-pence piece.
140.
Yeah, solid start in this leg from Jamie Lewis once again. Those last couple of legs from the pair just tipped both their averages over that 90 mark once again.
It's not out of the question that Jamie Lewis could have the
85.
highest running average for the night and yet not pick up a win. But as our
100.
colleague Chris Mason would say, they don't write averages on trophies. Unless it's the highest average trophy.
134. Jamie require 161.
Well, Jamie Lewis knows he's got at least 6 from here. 81 left.
99. $94.
And these are the
Jamie
shots, aren't they, that
requires 62.
perhaps Lewis hasn't been able to convert as often as required and has been punished. But that's a great first, double 16.
Game shot
This
on the
time
fifth
he does
flag.
and goes
Jamie
within
Lewis.
1 of Alex Small.
Really good contest this. The back-to-back 14s of
Sixth
Alec.
flag, it's Alec to throw
Jamie
first.
Lewis wins
Game
that
on.
1 in 15. Both players averaging in excess of 91 in this match.
58.
And again, just having a look at the scoring power pack. Jamie Lewis, 16 scores of 1 treble.
58.
Alex Small, 12. 13 scores combined of 2 trebles.
100.
After what was a little bit of a sluggish start from both players, it really has caught fire, this match.
58.
Yeah, but is that the opening there for Alex Small? Because
135.
2 consecutive scores of 58 from Jamie Lewis just isn't enough to contend with Alex Small's scoring power.
35.
Well, Alec here, 6 starts on 208 to wrap this one up.
136.
And I think it's fair to say now that Jamie Lewis maybe has just been hit by one punch too many here. You can tell he's a man on the canvas. And Alex Small
72.
has an opportunity to land the knockout blow. 72 for the match. Double 18 gets the job done. A 4-2 win for Alex Small ends what has been a dismal night for Jamie Lewis. He averaged in excess of 19 in 3 of his 4 games, but yet hasn't picked up a point this evening. As for Alex Small, he finds himself on 4 points overnight. One of 3 players on 4. Him, Jamie Owens and John O'Shea all picking up 2 wins for the opening day's worth of play. But it's Graeme Hall who is the man who is at the top of the table. He won all 4 of his matches. He is top of the table, and we will look back on all of the action after the break.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
Yoki with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think he's gone to
180.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George Scaife wasn't even able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
required
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's giving George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go
Couldn't get the job
Got
done.
in the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Scaife.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Scaife!
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. This is what we saw towards the latter end of tonight's session in Group B. A night which saw Graeme Hall win all of his matches, Jamie Lewis failing to win his, and everybody else meeting in the middle. So those are the results from the end of the night. This is how the table looks going into Friday's action. Graeme Hall, maximum points, 8 to his name, 4 wins out of 4. As you can see, the 3 players just underneath, John O'Shea, Jamie Owens and Alex Small, with 2 wins from their 4 games. Jamie Lewis, the only player not to pick up a point on Thursday evening. Well, we've been watching all of the darts in the company of Laura Turner. Look, there's only one place to start. That's Graeme Hall, 4 wins out of 4. And as the night went along, he just got better and better and better.
Yeah, and I think we just saw his confidence grow as those wins kept coming. As you say, even he said it to you after getting that second win. I think then he felt like, okay, great, I've got the 2 wins under my belt. You know, now I just want to go through the whole card. And then peaked right at the very end of the evening as well. So thoroughly deserved and sitting pretty at the top of the table.
How good was that game between Graeme and John O'Shea?
Yeah, really good, because obviously John O'Shea had come out, he'd got 2 back-to-back 4-0 wins, then suffered quite a heavy defeat in his 3rd match. So to come out and actually really bring it to Graeme Hall as well, I thought it was actually impressive from both players. And it's one of those matches that it's always going to be disappointing that there is actually a loser in the end. But yeah, as for Graeme Hall, he just found a way, dug in and got across the line in the end.
And I suppose there's a feeling, because he's kind of improved as the week's gone along, that the signs are pretty much ominous for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just think, from what we've seen from everyone tonight, obviously, there's been some really good things, but sometimes the results just perhaps haven't married up with exactly what you'd think based on averages and stats and things. But yeah, I honestly, I think Graeme Hall, out of everyone, to me, very much looking like the standout performer for the evening.
So Graeme Hall with 8 points to his name. Now we've got 3 players below him on 4 points. And it looks like it's going to be a very interesting race in that particular portion of the table.
Yeah, and that last win I think was really important for Alex Small. Okay, it was disappointment for Jamie Lewis, who couldn't then pick up any points from this evening's action. But we've got 3 players sat on 4 points, separated only by a nominal leg difference now as well. So going in tomorrow, they've just put themselves in a position they're going to be really vying and jostling for those kind of last remaining 2 places.
In terms of Alec this evening, it felt like the good stuff was really good, but maybe it was just a little bit patchy at times, maybe.
Absolutely. I just think the consistency perhaps wasn't there. Like you say, we just saw these amazing sections and portions of matches which he just couldn't actually see out and finish. And in the end, some of them still felt when he got across the line, they were slightly laboured, not as comfortable as what he would have liked. So kind of just need to brush that under the carpet. Be grateful that you're walking away from the evening with a couple of wins and 4 points to your name. You're still in the mix, and then push on from tomorrow.
It was interesting that at the beginning of the second half of the night, we said that Jamie Owens would snap his hand off for 4 points. He'll be a relieved man that he was on that figure, because the first portion of the night, he was a little bit off it, but then towards the end, he was in full flow, wasn't he?
Yeah, I guess you could actually say that both him and John O'Shea had an evening of 2 different halves, because it was John O'Shea that started off very dominant, and it was Jamie that was really struggling, and then kind of flipped over in terms of performances towards the back end of the evening. So Jamie, I think, just walking away after the disappointment of losing those first 2, it's just so important in Group B. You get at least a win. If you can get a couple of wins, it just stands you in very good stead going into tomorrow.
And I imagine John's probably as surprised as the rest of us the way the second half of the night went, particularly after the second game. He won both his first 2 4-0, and that second performance averaged 98.5, and it just felt like he was just going to carry on. It just didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah, he looked great as well. He was throwing well. He looked relaxed. You can see here in one of those 4-0 victories, it was the ton finish. It was just doing everything right. He was timing everything really well. But what happened in that third game, I think it was against Jamie Owens. Yeah. So in the third game, for me, it was actually a tail off in performance. And I think that's what's going to frustrate John O'Shea, because he was playing at such a high peak. I think he went from about 85, like you say, up to just under 100 average, dropped down to around a 78, which I know averages are just indicators, but to lose off the back of that as well, I think that'll be where the frustration comes.
Talking about numbers not ending in results, Jamie Lewis, I suppose, is the example. Averaged 92 for the entirety of the evening. His scoring was up there with anybody, but the finishing let him down ultimately, didn't it?
Yeah, ultimately it did. And there were times where he just had the odd one or two opportunities at the outer ring and was punished for missing. But if you look at that very last game against Alex Small, had copious amounts of darts. He was given the chances, given the opportunities, and just wasn't able to get across the line. So it'd be disappointed. There's so much that he can take going forward. If he keeps doing the same thing, keeps carving out the opportunities for the doubles, then I do think the wins will ultimately come. But I think to play and score at the level he has, I mean, there were so many times where we were commenting that he was down to a 2-dart finish after 9 darts and just couldn't see out the leg. So I just think that's the area of the game now that probably Jamie just needs to focus on.
And we kind of mentioned it in commentary this evening that, yes, of course he's coming here to win because that's the pedigree and that's what he's done in the game. But it's a process for Jamie in the fact that results are kind of secondary. Primary is getting his form back to a level that he feels comfortable with and finding a place where he's beginning to enjoy the sport again.
Yeah, as I say, there is so much he could take away in terms of the way that he's played and the way that he's scored. But ultimately, yeah, it's going to come down at some point. He's going to want to start seeing the actual results come out in wins. But hopefully it's a real confidence boost in terms of performance levels. But, you know, it's going to be disappointing that he hasn't actually got any wins or points to his name from this evening.
So let's round up what we've seen tonight then in Group B. This is how the table looks going into Friday's action here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Confirmation then that Graeme Hall is top of the table with 8 points to his name. 3 players behind him on 4 and Jamie Lewis without a win on Thursday. Now earlier on today we saw Group C in action, and it is Johnny Haynes who's definitely making the most of his last-minute invite. He wasn't meant to be here until Tuesday afternoon when Martin Adams withdrew. He won all 5 of his games, dropping just 9 legs in the process. Top of the table with 10 points to his name. Brian Roman and the debutant Alex Williams, both on 6 points respectively. They are looking as if they're going to be in a race for that second position in the group. Look, Johnny Haynes, 10 points to his name, 5 wins out of 5. And it's fair to say he's kind of doing the whole Denmark thing, isn't he? Not meant to be in the competition. And then once in there, he's making the full use of the opportunity.
Yeah, and he really did. And he kind of had to dig deep at times, kind of draw on all that experience, because it was a bit of a slow start for Johnny Haynes. But once he kind of got those gears going, he just went through them. And yeah, very deserved player to go through the card. He was pushed at times, as I mentioned, but yeah, dominance from him throughout.
Interesting story with Alex Williams. Now, I had a WhatsApp message off of Glenn Durrant yesterday morning. And he said that he's been doing some work with Alex and said, actually, in terms of the people that he's worked with from beginning to end, Alex is up there, one of the very best that he's worked with. Was there signs that there's a real player there today?
Yeah, and I've actually seen Alex around on the WDF circuit as well, and he's starting to do some good things. He was runner-up at the Isle of Man Open recently, so he was definitely on my radar coming into the tournament this week. But you know what it's like when you're here on debut, you're never quite sure how it goes. But he had a real focus, a real dogged determination, and actually posted, you know, how excited that he was to be here, and he's really put in a good couple of months graft as well. So I totally understand, and I think it's a massive compliment for Glenn to say that, you know, he's one of the best players that he's worked with.
Well, that was this afternoon's action. It'll get back underway. 1 o'clock tomorrow. We'll be live again here on Pluto TV for another afternoon's worth of darts. Next week is going to see, well, 3 champions from the previous series enter the fray. And that's about Jamai van der Herrick, who's had a fantastic year. He's been a real breakthrough start in 2025. But you look at that Group A and good luck picking a winner out of that.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the likes of Sam Spivey, Scott Campbell, who, you know, they've obviously recently won and picked up titles. You've got Kirk Parry, who, in my opinion, based on what I've seen from the last couple, he's just the next one waiting in the wings to pick up a title. But yeah, you're going to have to battle through the likes of Martin Turner, who made finals night when he was here last time as well. So yeah, really, really tough group. I think that we say it each week. Every week just seems harder and harder.
Well, Shane McGuire, of course, reigning Lakeside champion. We saw him at the previous Champions Week. Carl Wilson's a player, though, that shouldn't go under the radar because the couple of times we've seen him here, he's done some real handy stuff.
Yeah, again, he's another player that I think going under the radar, and I think that suits him. But he's not going to keep doing that if he keeps putting in performances the way he has. But yeah, again, finding himself in a group with Shane McGuire and Lee Cox, and Lee Cox is one of the most experienced players we have down here, and I think it might suit him going into Group B because quite often when we see him here for a whole week, he trails off towards the end. So a couple of evening sessions for Lee, and that might do the job for him.
And we get to see Spivey Man once again.
You can't resist, can you?
I cannot resist. I cannot resist. Let's have a look at the tournament bracket then for this week as we head towards the final day's worth of qualification play. Kevin Burness, the winner of Group A on Wednesday afternoon. And of course, what we saw tonight was Group B and the 5 players in action. And then Group C will come to a close on Friday afternoon. Just, 12 hours from now, we'll begin all the action again.
Yeah, not long to wait now just to see how this, Group C is really had started to take some shape, but we're not going to have to wait long, I don't think, to find out who's going to go through.
Johnny Haynes and one other for you?
I can't see past Johnny Haynes. I know 5 wins doesn't necessarily guarantee you a place, but just the way he's played and the experience he's got, he likes to get through to a Saturday, doesn't he, Johnny?
Certainly been an intriguing night worth of darts, that is for sure. Laura, it'd be great to watch it in your company. Plenty coming up across Pluto TV in the coming hours or so. Now the live darts is done. Coming up next, on the subject of Glenn Durham, we'll be hearing from him. It's been a long day, hasn't it? The Tungsten Talk is with us after the live darts comes to an end. We'll see Jimmy Van Schie conversation tomorrow morning as well. Johnny Haynes is in action from 1 o'clock as he leads the charge in Group C. And then all eyes will lead to Saturday night's final. Scott Taylor and Jez Smith, the 2 players that have already qualified their way through to Champions Week, who will be the third to join him. 7:30 p.m. on Saturday night, we'll find out the identity of the third player through to Champions Week. Well, what an evening it has been here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. If at the O2 it was Luke that kept his cool, it was Graham Hall that ran red hot here in Portsmouth. From all of us here, take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.
What a finish! What a man! The drum roll finishes, and the target is amazing.
And it comes on finals night, and it's a knockout.
Dirty